Alrighty. Shalom, everybody. Hope everybody had a Tawab Shabbat, and it's time to get ourselves back into that mode and the mode of operations routine. 4 classes a week. We're about to ramp up and give the people what they want, man. We're gonna sit back here and teach, and just as much as we possibly can, give clarity to every single person out there. Shalom to all the schools out there. I'm Kyle teaching in Guatemala, isbhpk Houston, isbhpk Rochester, isbhpk Virginia. And once again, the message that we're bringing out today, yesterday, and in the future is for the benefit of the entire nation. Anybody that checks out, hopefully we try to structure the classes so that everybody can have an opportunity to learn and grow and understand. So, so the message is not just stuck just to the San Antonio school or the San Antonio camp. We try to make sure we get the information as universal as possible so everybody can get something from the class. No different than today's class. Today's class, the title is the 3 stages, or not the 3 stages, or just 3 stages of spiritual maturity. And depending on where you're at in your life, where you're at and how you think in different aspects of your battle, one of the stages pertains to you, or all 3 of the stages could pertain to you, but just in different arenas in your life, depending on how strong or how weak you are in a particular situation. So today, what I want to do is, I doubt I'll be able to get through all this class in one day, but I want to kind of paint out the 3 different stages of maturity, of spiritual maturity, and the first one we're going to go into today is fear. Okay, there's different things, there's different motivants that inspire us to change. There's different motivants that inspire us to improve ourselves. So,
and sometimes just hearing the scripture, or because it's the correct thing to do for certain people, or for different people at different developing levels.
Yeah.
That's not enough to make a person stop.
Well, most of the time it isn't. I mean, I might explain the 3 off cuff, and then go into the scriptures to break it down. So the first form of motivation that's most common to us, I would think, is fear. Fear is the first level, or the first
that creates urgency.
That creates. Once again, we're dealing with what makes a person mature.
Yeah.
What creates motivation?
What's a propellant? What is a propellant?
Yes.
Because we're dealing with age groups.
Yes.
Now we can say
spiritual age groups.
Yeah, we can talk about years and physicality. The Bible says they should speak.
Yes.
They should speak, but it is the what? Spirit, or the mentality inside of a man. So what is this? What is the propellant we're talking about today? As far as one of the propellants of these 3 that applies to most people.
So let's just. I'm not going to go into the 3 right now. I'm changing my. We're going to go on the first.
Cool. No
fear
problem.
is going to be the first.
No problem.
And the fear kind of explains the intro of how the relationship between mankind, womankind, and the Most High is established by. Okay. So let's go into fear in the 1828. Let's go into fear in the 1828.
Fear.
Now I want it loud. Give me some spirit when we're reading. Fear, and I want to deal with. Let's get the second definition first. It's definition 1. It's the second paragraph of definition 1. Then we're going to jump up to 1. The first paragraph of definition 1. So let's do this.
You got it?
Okay. Fear. Number 2, anxiety.
No.
The second paragraph.
Second paragraph of number 1.
On number 1. The force of this passion.
I got it down. It says, you got that?
Fear. To feel pain.
No.
It says, fear is the passion of nature which excites us to provide for our security.
So it's a passion.
It is a passion. It's an action. The fear, the purpose of the fear is to create an action. So fear is the passion of our nature. Read on.
Of our nature which excites us.
Stop. The exciting part is the part that creates the action. When it says the fear excites, meaning the fear creates the motivation. The fear excites us to make a move. So it excites us to do what?
to provide for our security.
The fear excites us to provide for our security.
I gotta say one thing. The word passion means feeling of mind.
Okay?
All right, that's only important. Some people might hear the word passion, think about being passionate, but it's talking about this is a feeling of mind. This is a certain impulse, a mental impulse that is a propellant to certain actions.
Yes, because the propellant is where the word excites comes from.
Come.
So fear was created and intended to excite us to provide for our security, whether physical security or spiritual security. When you read all throughout Genesis, Exodus, really Exodus and Numbers and Leviticus, you start reading how the Most High was trying to establish a relationship, but was trying to make sure he set the tone that if we didn't follow the Most High, we were going to die.
And why was it, if you don't do this, you will die?
Because Most High, well, first of all, the Most High was trying to get us to establish a relationship with him, but he was trying to excite a response. He was trying to excite us to make a change, excite us to take this new frame of thinking more serious.
And the fact, if I do this, I'm going to die.
Yes.
It's very comprehensible. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
It's not, you got to sit here and meditate about this all day. If you don't do this, you die.
Yep.
So that definitely, if a person wants to live, they'll have to focus on an idea and make an adjustment.
Yep. So what's happening is we're just starting to try to analyze and understand how the Most High deals with each and every one of us from the beginning of our relationship with him. So let's continue in the definition of fear. Give me the first definition, first paragraph.
Okay. Fear, a painful emotion or passion excited by an expectation of evil.
So there's a passion, excited movement or action that comes behind the expectation of something bad happening.
And they always say, what's the common thing about fear? That's the idea. We have nothing to fear but what?
Fear itself.
Fear itself.
God.
The idea of fear is scary alone. Because the fact that I could take a loss,
yes,
or because remember, the word evil also means injury.
Yeah.
So I could take an injury financially, mentally, physically, based on me not doing a certain sequence of actions. So based on that idea of not wanting to receive that injury or seeing other people being injured, I got to make a decision right now. It creates that spirit of urgency. It excites the passion.
Got it. So let's continue.
Or the apprehension of impending danger.
The apprehension of impending danger. So as the Most High was dealing with an immature you, an immature way of thinking that was inside of you, the number one thing that hits you is fear. That should hit you. The number one aspect of motivating an individual is pure fear, the fear of loss. Now, I said earlier that these three stages you could be actually living and operating under these three different stages of motivation all at the same time. How is that the case? Okay, before I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. I was going to say this. When you look at a child, sometimes children, you can't talk to the baby.
Yes.
To the baby, listen, don't touch the electric socket. You can explain all you want. You can sit here and draw a picture of the electricity coming out the socket.
And like doing this, like
don't do it.
Like
don't you do this. But the baby's going to reach because they don't understand that picture.
So the only thing you can do is give pop-outs.
You have to give pop-outs. That stove was for our first lesson we ever learned.
Yep.
You go in mama's kitchen, don't touch the damn stove.
Yep.
Right? That stove's going to do what?
Burn
you. And now, some of us didn't listen to mama, and what happened?
Which one of y'all didn't listen to mama, man?
Some of us had to feel it. That's one of those motivations. I had to have pain.
Yes.
I learned by pain.
And a lot of Israel, even to this day, has to learn by pain, has to learn by loss, to get things to shake in their head, to change in their mind.
This is natural.
This is natural. This is the beginning stages of a man or woman's maturity in whatever arena that they're in. Okay, let's continue in our definitions.
Fear expresses less apprehension than dread, and dread less than terror and fright.
So what he's telling you is that there's different type of fear that a person experiences. They said fear is less than dread, Dread is less than terror and fright.
Different situation.
There are different levels of pain. There's different levels of anxiety that a person actually has to endure before they make a change. The Most High only intended for us to use fear as a motivant. The intention wasn't to make his relation with Israel to be terrified.
Yeah.
It was just established to create urgency in the individual to take the message serious.
Take it serious.
Okay? And so let's continue.
Like a child, you wouldn't want to terrorize a child.
Because you don't want to traumatize a child.
There you go.
But the trauma will only happen if a person doesn't listen to the fear or to the possibility of being stung.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's continue.
The force of this passion, beginning with the most moderate degree, may be thus expressed: fear, dread, terror, fright.
This is how fear escalates. Fear, dread, terror, and fright. Read on.
Fear is accompanied with a desire to avoid or ward off the expected evil.
So when it says to fear the Lord, the intention of fearing the Most High should be coupled, the fear should be coupled with a desire to avoid to get stung. That was the only intention in fearing the Lord from its most beginning inception. So, what are we dealing with in the root of a person? The Most High, the beginning aspect of learning to be spiritually mature.
Which is how serious I take with the Most High, with the Lord.
Ah.
If it says fear the Lord, then I gotta take that serious, or to avoid the consequences of not fearing the Lord.
God, well, the scripture tells you that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Come.
The beginning of even beginning to know the Most High is to learn to be conscious of that. The things when I don't listen, there are severe consequences
There are harmful effects
that come from me not listening.
Come.
But what does fear also mean? Why does fear equal, or why is fear the beginning of wisdom? Can anybody tell me why fear is the beginning of wisdom? Because what comes with fear?
Discipline.
Not necessarily.
Action.
There's an action that comes behind fear. That's why fear is so important. Because that's what Moses says, love the Most High in what? Deed.
Deed and
Not
truth.
word.
Not word, but deed and truth.
So the Most High is always looking at action.
God.
And the first way that I show the Most High that I respect and honor him is that fear of loss, fear of failure motivates me and fuels me to change. And if fear of falling and fear of the Most High stinging me catapults me to a physical change, then it's positive. This is why the title of the class is about 3 stages of spiritual maturity. Because if we're operating with some type of spiritual mature mindset, then there should be some type of a what behind what we do.
Action.
An action and a change behind our life.
Based on a healthy fear.
That's one of the things that are used to create a healthy change.
Yeah.
Is pure fear.
For example, people that eat pork.
Yep.
Eat the pork. You show them the scripture, they blow it off, and the doctor says, "Listen, man, your lungs, not your lungs, but your veins are clogged up. You have high cholesterol.
High blood pressure.
You have very high blood pressure. We have these sets of pills for you, and honestly, tell you the quality of life is going to diminish because of you ingesting this pork for so long in your life." So now, based off of them having a heart attack or them being in a certain stage to have that heart attack,
Yes.
what's the next decision?
Listen, even before the heart attack, there is a diminishing of just ability,
Yeah.
tiredness, dizziness. As you get older, before you start getting like, when the blood pressure, young dudes don't know this shit, but when you get older, you start eating too much, eating the wrong chips, too much eat the wrong chips, you start feeling kind of weird. I don't know. Listen, when you get older, you start feeling weird. You start eating too many chips or eating too much bad food. You start feeling like a little lightheaded, like what's going on with me? What's some bad chips? I just ate or something like that.
Yeah.
Then you gotta sit back and drink water and hydrate and sleep this shit off out.
All day.
And then all of a sudden you realize, oh no, this is the beginning signs of some blood pressure issues.
Yeah.
So before you have the heart attack, you should have a diminishing just in daily activity.
Exactly.
And that's the goal would be to, as I'm diminishing day to day, Let me make these adjustments in my life to spawn a change. Let this fear or these difficulties spawn change. Why are we even going to a class like this? Because too many of us still operate in this cycle of just going to work every day, living our life, but not seeing any significant change. So understanding, when we go and finish this class, you'll have a better idea of where you're at spiritually and how much you've grown from the time you came into this class, or the time you came into the truth, or this last year. Or hell, even if we're doing some quote-unquote New Year's resolutions, even though this ain't the new year, we're in the middle of the damn winter. If we're dealing with New Year resolution or prepping for the New Year, which is in April, which is the spring, I should be setting up a goal, setting up changes in my life, so I can look back 3 months from now and say, damn, I really am making changes. But what was the catalyst to get me to change? Okay? So, let's continue. We're going to let the definition go. I think we got it. But I want a verse in Proverbs. It's like Proverbs 1 kind of goes into it. That talks about fear of the Lord. Yeah, 1 and 7. Let's go there.
God. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7.
Let me type it in. Okay. Read that.
God. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction.
So once again, that fear was intended to give us the beginning of knowledge. There's different levels of skill as you continue to operate in this work, based on where your spiritual maturity is at. You're not going to always be fueled by fear. You shouldn't always be fueled by fear. We're going to go into the fear aspect, but that shouldn't be your number 1, 2, and 3 motivator in your life.
That's an initial stage in life, bro.
That shows you that you're just starting to
There's
take
nothing
the
wrong
Most
with
High serious.
There's nothing wrong with it. But everything has to be, oh, if you don't do it, you're going to get a whooping.
Or you're going to lose rank.
You're
It's the
losing
same
rank.
thing in a camp scenario.
You're losing rank, or I'm going to leave, or you know something bad's going to happen. Your car going to crash your car.
Yep. Husband's going to leave you.
Oh,
Wife's
come
going to
on,
leave
bro.
you.
Come on,
It
bro.
shouldn't have every motivation and decision that we do serving the Most High shouldn't be think based off, if you don't do it, you better do it or else. You better do it or else. You better do it or else. It shouldn't
That's
be that
very
way.
young.
That's
It's
the
not.
point.
It's not wicked.
It's just
but
very
it's
young. And that's the point. And that's what we're trying to explain. Okay? This is why when you get to the New Testament, people like to say that the old and new is different. And we're going to go into the verse, but the scripture that says there's no fear in love. Does that mean you're not supposed to have fear? Or eventually, there's got to be another way to get you to get the most out of yourself.
There's no fear in perfect love. You know, when I perfected or completed my love or my appreciation for something, then I don't need to sit here and get the whip on my back.
So let's go. Let's continue.
Okay.
So we understand. Read that from the top again, sir.
God. Proverbs chapter 1 verse
It's not
7.
smelling good today, man. It's smelling a little burnt, like some burnt offerings out here,
Right,
man.
it's good. It's good.
Okay, man. Let's make sure,
Well, the
man.
Levi only he knows.
Levy knows that.
God. It says
It's Levy. It's not Levi. It's Levy. Levy. Sorry. Keep going. Now.
Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge,
Okay.
but fools despise wisdom and instruction.
So the fool doesn't even consider fear as a motivation.
God.
They just continue to go through their path and do what they want to do when they want to do it. Okay? Let that go. Now we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45, and then 47.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45.
So once again, in a nutshell, fear is based on exciting action because of a fear of loss or fear of impending doom coming to your life. And that motivates people to make changes. So let's read this.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes.
So now we're dealing in Deuteronomy 28, the curses that Moses talked about would happen to all of Israel. And the reason we were going to face these curses was because we didn't follow the Lord's laws and commandments. But also, as we read verse 47, it's going to give us a little more specificity in why we didn't have it in us to keep the laws and commandments of the Most High. Read verse 47.
Verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart.
So read on.
For the abundance of all things.
So the reason that we lost everything is because there was no joy in what we did. There was no pure motivation in the service of the Most High. And this is why the Most High took us out and we had to lose everything. Now, this kind of spills the beans on what we're going to be dealing with on the next stage of motivation, because the next stage of motivation deals with joy, deals with the passionate joy. And we're going to go into the definition of joy. I might as well say that the first motivation is fear of the Lord. The second motivation is joy in the Lord. And the third motivation is delight in the Lord. And there's three different definitions and understandings in this process. Either you're gonna be a fool and just reject it, or you're gonna sit back and learn to understand the Most High with fear, or you're gonna sit back here and eventually learn to have a joy in serving the Most High, or the last or the greatest level of maturity or motivation is predicated on a delight in serving and following the Lord. And you're going to start seeing, as we paint the picture for all three, that the third one is just about the purest motivation possible. You're even going to see when a person has joy, the motivation isn't the purest. Hell, when you're dealing with fear of the Lord, it's a start. But is it the purest motivation we can have?
I shouldn't be.
When we're getting to learn the Most High?
I shouldn't be on. I'm gonna get stuck.
But you see, because that shows the youth, and that shows there's vanity in that fear. So am I really serving the Most High because I purely love Him? Or am I serving the Most High when I first start to grasp things because I'm afraid to lose?
I just don't want to die. That mindset.
But it's a start. And the Most High is merciful on us because that's better than just pure rejection of the message anyway.
Period. Yeah.
But also as we're starting to get into this knowledge for multiple years, and 5 and 10 and 15, the Most High wants usury, right? We've read that all the time. But in wanting usury, how many hours in a day can you be up? I'm serving the Lord. I'm not a team no sleep. Is that the answer, right? Listen, I'm gonna read the Bible all day. I'm reading. Is that showing the Most High that you're trying to change? Or as we're evolving and growing, our motivations become pure.
And initially,
our intentions become pure.
Initially, studying and reading is definitely necessary, and that's exercise until we die.
I'm not knocking studying. I study to this day. I studied earlier today, so I'm not knocking studying. I'm not saying school's for fools, y'all. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
studying is essential, but we're saying there's supposed to be fruits from your study.
Yes. Well, not even. I didn't want to go.
I'm saying
Yes.
fruits means developments. So as I'm studying, okay, I'm afraid of the Most High stinging. I don't want to take a loss. But now I study because I enjoy studying. I enjoy what I'm getting out of it.
Yes. Yes. That's where the Most High wants the extra. Are my motivations pure? My reason for doing what I'm doing is out of a pure nature. That's how you know you have spiritually mature. How many of y'all have done things just to not get in trouble, not get counsel? Let me just do this so I don't hear his mouth later on the night.
Yeah.
And that's not the purest intention in doing a service. Let me just do this so this brother don't hit me up on the phone. I got to double back here and be inconvenienced.
Or whatever.
Let me be the good servant of Yeshua so I can get home and do what I really want to do later on.
Or preach.
Because that's what a whole lot of bullshit is. I'm gonna do what I gotta do so you can leave me the blankety blank alone.
Exactly.
So when I don't answer this phone, nobody's gonna be upset with me, right?
No
there should be more than one laugh there because there's a lot of people that are doing that. They just aren't fessing up to it.
Check dodges.
Exactly. Listen, and brothers have mastered to dodge checks and to evade fire and correction,
Yeah.
and the motivation to do right is to avoid
To check.
And you know what? That just shows you
That's
where
the mission.
you're at spiritually.
Come.
It doesn't make you wicked, but if that's your reason for doing things, you have a while to go, and that's what class today is about, right?
Come.
Or I do things perfect, so I don't get looked at a certain way.
Come.
It's the same concept, same concept. So
I made my bed. I cleaned my
that's
room.
what you do when you was a kid. I made my bed so I don't get corrected by my mama
Yeah.
or by the brother who's over the brother's house. The same concept. Why can't we just make beds because we love making beds and being organized now? Because everyone wants to be messy ass bed guy. I'm just a rebel. I just want to do it because I can. Anyway, we get the point, right?
Come.
Okay. Now let's continue. Let's continue in verse. Did we say 47? We did. He said, well, because we didn't serve the Most High with joyfulness and gladness of heart for the abundance of the things that we've gotten already. We're going to let that go and go to Baruch chapter 3. What's that?
25.
I was going to go verse 8 and 7.
You said chapter 5?
Nope.
Oh, chapter 8.
3.
Okay, cut.
Verse 8.
Baruch chapter 3, verse 8.
And then we're going to jump to 7.
Cut.
Yep, read it.
Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payment.
So once again, part of the curse is that we're subject to payments. What does that mean?
Debts.
You got to pay your damn taxes. I can't say Israel like, oh man, the taxes is the white man's way of enslaving the black man. Well, don't you realize, my brother, that these tax system was put in place because we're in curses?
Yeah.
Because we didn't follow the laws of God?
Yep.
How about that one?
Water.
Yeah, we're in want of all things.
Yeah.
And we got to pay our bread to the man. That's part of the curses. That just gets on my nerves.
Traffic tickets.
But it's about the bills and the man. Everything's the man. You're the man. You're the bad man that helped get you in this bad situation. This tax demon. Anyway, that gets me. But keep going on. Keep reading that.
And to be subject to
Israel's the
payment.
king of that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was subject to payments. That is part of the captivity.
It means your life is paying bills.
You know what? Everybody hates payments. Listen, after you pay your bills, you got more bills. There's no extra.
You got bills for bills.
You got tax on top of your regular bills, bro.
Yep.
Those are the payments that you have to give to your oppressor. But why? Read on.
According to all the iniquities of our fathers.
Because of all
We
that.
got to make payments and bills because of our iniquities and our fathers' iniquities.
Us being contrary.
Yes. Because you know why? You're going to pay bills to the white man because you didn't want to pay the God's bills.
Yeah.
You didn't want to pay God's bills. God's bills is follow along with gladness and joyfulness of heart. Serve me.
Yeah.
Love your brother. We didn't want to pay those bills, so you're going to pay more money out of pocket. You're going to be in more suffering. Most I said, if you're not going to serve me, you're going to serve your enemies. You're going to serve regardless. But continue.
Which departed from the Lord our God.
Read it in verse 7.
Verse 7. And for this cause thou hast put thy fear in our hearts.
Because we didn't want to fear the Most High within ourselves, naturally. Now the Most High has to manufacture fear. Remember we read in that definition of fear? He said it was fear, then it was dread, terror, and fright. Because we didn't have the natural fear in our hearts to please the Most High. Now He is creating fear for us now. He's creating dread. There's a reason that the scripture says the Most High is the king of what?
Terror.
Terrors. Because terror was that third bad word. It was fear, dread, and terror. So now the Most High sits back here and brings terror to you because we didn't want to fear Him naturally. The Most High just wanted us to have fear to excite us to make changes. We didn't want to give Him that, so now the Most High gives us dread and
You get
terror.
an upgrade coming.
You have an upgrade of fear, an upgrade of suffering.
Yeah.
So maybe if I up the ante and make this fearful thing worse, Maybe it'll motivate you to change more efficiently.
Dread. Great fear.
And that's what I'm saying.
There was fear.
God,
Now
look
there's
at that.
great fear.
That's the number 2 bad word, right? It's fear, dread. Read on. Oh, I thought you got another.
It says, or apprehension of evil or danger.
Brother, listen, the
It
fear just gets
expresses
worse.
more. It expresses more than fear.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to naturally manufacture the motivation to change.
It says, and less than terror or fright.
Well, then the terror's even
It's
worse.
pretty fair.
And then fright's even worse.
I'm giving you.
It's like fright's like Jason. They're Jason demons. And like dress like Halloween. I never was scared of that dude. He was white to me. Let me stop. Keep going.
Yeah, but listen,
Freddy was like the worst. That dude was
I'm
bad.
gonna perfectly give you what you need for your spirit. You're got good heart, but you need a little fear because you're just learning. Cool. Oh, you're hard headed. Got a little dread for you.
That's the point.
Oh, you really want to be a rebel?
Now we're gonna do what?
Okay, we're gonna upgrade.
We're gonna bring terror
We're
on
gonna
you.
upgrade you real quick.
What are we trying to explain?
Come on.
We're trying to explain the nature of even what it means to fear the Lord. Because to fear the Lord, if you really fear the Lord, that means there is something behind the fear. There is an excited action and change behind the fear. Does anybody really know that? I'm asking. Because a lot of us don't. So we can't really say. And also, when you're dealing with fearing the Lord, that's a very general statement, right?
Yeah.
Because do you fear the Lord when it comes to your discipline? Do you fear the Lord when it comes to your humility? Your study habits? Your servitude, your communication? How much do you fear in every one of these different fruits of the Spirit?
He's measuring those different
This
parts.
is the point. That's why I said you can sit back here and have pure love in one arena, but then be a fool in another arena, right? You can't just blindly. I fear the Lord. Do you really in all these phases?
I'm completely well-rounded when it comes to attendance and everything else.
Well, that's the
okay,
thing.
cool. That's cool.
Or can you check all the boxes and say I fear the Most High? Or that I've gone beyond that. Now I have gladness and joyfulness of heart in what I'm doing in all these arenas.
That's a spiritual upgrade of the person.
That's the part. Exactly.
That's a mature upgrade.
Come
That's
on.
why he deals with us like children. The scripture says that.
That's the point. Versus being dealt with like grown men.
Yeah.
There's the difference. Do I have to constantly threaten the belt? Or are you making these adjustments because you love or you have a joy in serving the Lord? We're gonna explain what joy in the Lord is.
Come.
Okay? Well, let's continue. Are you kind of getting where I'm going now? A little bit. Okay? And you can judge yourself. You can self-evaluate with this template. I can sit back and say, damn, 6 months ago to a year, I had to constantly get yelled at and corrected and chastised and inspection. Now I do it because I want to do it. I have what? I've grown.
Sure.
Now can I sit back here and evaluate myself in these multiple arenas and say the same thing when it comes to evaluating where I'm at as a person?
What does it take to get a person to be propelled, to move forward? In a certain
How hard do I have to work to make adjustments in what's inside of me? Do I need somebody to even go to how much do I got to get pushed? How much do I got to get pushed to make adjustments?
Because for years we've had this debate about does everybody need a taskmaster? And the problem with always having a taskmaster for too long of a period, the man becomes crippled because he has the inability to manufacture his own drive.
And that means that person hasn't grown. If you keep having to have a taskmaster for somebody, that means this person doesn't want to grow.
You know a person wants to grow when you can step back and they
do it because they want to do it.
They don't need a person breathing down their throat or not down their neck. Breathe down their neck and
I know.
calling you out.
Yes.
You don't need that to take responsible actions towards your day.
And this is how you know you're evolving from the fear of the Lord to a joy in the Lord. That's how you can tell the difference.
And young soldiers.
And the same thing in a marriage. Do I sit back here and do it because I know it has to be done? Or I'm only going to do it when I'm told for the 5th time? Or when you do you sit back and clean up when you got, he's 30 minutes away? When he calls you and tells you he's on the way, do you do the cleaning then? Do you do the cooking then?
Or just for responsible people. Do I take responsibility because it's the right thing to do, or I do it because if I don't do it, I'm getting evicted?
Or there's exactly.
I'm getting out. I got the phone call, and Mom, I need to buy a G&a-half. Mom, you got a G&a-half?
G&a-half.
I really wasn't. I wasn't the club. Threw the money away. Mom, I lost the money. I don't know what to do. Well, you're waiting for these, or you're waiting for the police to be behind you with the blue and red lights. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go to the court and get my tickets done.
Yeah.
We wait for these extreme situations, but that's just a sign of immaturity.
Not using the fear.
If you need extremes to do things, that just shows in that arena that's where I'm young at.
Yeah.
Whereas another person's like, hey man, I got a sticker.
A little bit later.
I gotta fix my sticker. My bill's due on the 1st. I gotta make sure it's ready to go. I gotta go out, but you know what? At the same time, I know I can't blow this, so I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yep.
I gotta make decisions.
The Spirit's just showing us where, once again, we do the same things every day.
Yeah.
We have the same routines every day in our life, but you can still see growth in your everyday routines.
Your approach.
Based on your motivation behind your everyday routines. When that changes, you can start measuring, okay, I really am growing. Now I can do more, because there's 3 ways you can show growth in these arenas.
I don't want to
in
die.
all of your arenas.
I don't want to die.
That's number 1.
That's
the young start, and that's better than just straight rebellion and not wanting to do it at all.
That's respectable.
Exactly, but the reality is, that shouldn't be the fear of loss. Should not be the number 1 motivation as you continue to grow in this knowledge. If not, if you want to show the Most High that you're serious about changing, okay. But let's keep going. So, did we read verse 7, all of it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's read verse 7, all of it.
To the intent that we should call upon thy name and praise thee in our captivity.
He says, and for this cause thou hast put thy fear in our hearts, to the intent that we should call upon thy name and praise thee in our captivity. So the Most High breaks us down. He brings about the dread and the terror and the fright in our lives, just to get us to now be more enthusiastic to serve him. What level of fear does he have to put on you? We just read there was 4 different types of fear. It was fear, dread, terror, and fright. Where does he have to scare you to level-wise to get an excited action to get you to change? And that's just the first level of your battle. A lot of men just they're fearful or dreadful, or they dread being low in rank. So the Most High will sit back and break you down, because that might get you off your ass to change. Some people dread looking bad in front of other people.
You look bad all day.
So you're gonna keep looking bad, and maybe that will excite you to change what's inside of you. Constantly looking like, oh, this guy. This guy is the the blankly blank guy. Shalom, brother. The daps are a little less like enthusiastic, because they're like this. The taps are like this. Let me stop. But you get my point, right? When you get the light taps from me, you're not giving your 110% effort. Maybe we got to tighten up our effort. Then the daps are like this. Anyway, let me stop messing around. So, we're going to let that verse go. We're going to go to Ecclesiastes and Apocrypha, chapter 2, and verse 15.
Ecclesiastes 2 and verse 15.
Yep. Yeah, let's go.
They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word.
The ones that fear the Lord, they're motivated enough to listen. They're motivated enough to change. Fear equals excitement. Fear equals works. Fear equals change. The fear, the first definition of fear is passions that excite you to avoid the loss of a situation.
And the word excite, second definition, means to stimulate.
Yes. So fear, the intention of fear is just to use to excite you, to change. The fright and terror is what's supposed to scare the hell out of you. The initial point of fearing the Lord was to excite you to serve him. That's all it was. What do I got to do to get this person to change and be a better person? It's the same thing that we do as brothers. What do we got to do to excite this brother to study more?
Yeah.
What do we got to do to excite this brother to counsel with us more?
Yeah.
To stop lying in front of us. Stop being Mr. Fake Guy in front of us. What do we got to do to excite this person to be sincere in what he does? This is how the Most High tries to deal with us. Anyway, continue.
And it's for the intention of getting a positive response.
Yes, that's all it is. And all the Most High uses fear is to get you to excite the change for the good.
God.
But once again, we're explaining what fear of the Lord is, and we're also explaining that this is the beginning of what spiritual motivation and maturity really is about.
Yeah.
Read on.
Ecclesiasticus 2 and verse 15. And they that love him will keep his ways.
Read on.
They that fear the Lord.
So this is also showing you two different levels of motivation.
Yeah.
A person that fears the Lord is, see how it's worded? They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word. The person that fears is not going to F up because he don't want the Most High to sting him. Then the second part of it is they that love him will keep his ways. Now you see when that person that loves him, you don't see that they're not going to mess up.
Yeah.
The person that loves him is going to willfully make the adjustments because they want to do it. So once again, as you're seeing the Most High is like, let me motivate this person to change. Now I want this person to want to find it in themselves to want to change because of the blessings that I'm going to provide them.
And the relationship we develop.
So because what he's still trying to show us, let's grow up. The person that loves the Most High is going to willfully make the changes because they love him.
So are you saying that fear is supposed to, the part of growth is that fear is supposed to graduate into love, into loving?
Yes. It's supposed to be an evolution. I do things because I have to do it. Then eventually I do things because I want to do it. I love pleasing the Most High. And then there's a third motivation on the back end that's even a more pure intentioned motivation.
What's the highest level?
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there. Well, we got to throw a little teaser out there for the people, man. But for now,
But you know, most of us need to just get to the point of I know this because I love it.
I know.
Because that's one of the hard things to get Israel to do is to enjoy their different degrees of service to the Father.
Huh? This shit crazy. I'll be okay, but can you fear every day? I'll be okay for that now. Can we all fear the Lord every day? And then we move to the next phase. But you're right. We want to get to love, but let's master fear.
That's a graduation.
That's still a graduation. So where are we at?
Ecclesiasticus 2 and verse 16.
You mean, yeah.
It says, they that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him. And they that love him shall be filled with the law.
So it's still showing an elevated way of looking at things. The person that fears the Most High will seek that which is well. They will start the beginning process of looking to do the right things because they don't want to get in trouble. Then we get the person that loves. They're going to sit back here and be filled with the law. It's going to already be in them. They're going to make the word a part of their life permanently. Let's continue.
Verse 17. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight, saying, we will fall into the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy.
Come. So I think we got that point so far. We're going to let that go and going to 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and 11. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and 11.
Second Corinthians chapter 5 and verse.
Let's pick up the energy. We need the energy up. Let's go. 5:11. Let's do it.
Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men.
We read earlier that terror was that third level of fear. So we know the Most High can seriously inflict punishment on us. And because we know the Most High can seriously inflict punishment on us, is why we persuade people around us to take him serious, to take change serious, to take serving the Most High seriously. Okay, read on.
Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto the Most High. And I trust also are made manifest in your conscience.
In consciousness. So, once again, knowing the terror of the Most High is still the foundation of how we develop one another. We're going to let that go. Let that go and now go to Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 30. and 31.
Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 30.
Make sure I get this real quick. Slovakia. If y'all got any questions as we're going, let us know. Chapter 10, verse 30.
Come. For we know him that hath said, Vengeance belongeth unto me. I will recompense, saith the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power.
It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. And like I said, there's certain things in how we do things that we've already mastered this. There's certain things that we don't have to be pushed or motivated by fear of loss in our life to change.
And some people need fear. Let's not act like it's not a need for this spirit.
Well, but that's why I keep saying there's certain things in our life that we don't need fear, but there's other things in our life that we do need fear in. That's why I say, instead of, and this is why it's important in the areas that we're weak at, we can't discount this concept.
Yeah.
We can't discount the concept that fear is needed to help usher you through through being lazy, being underwhelmed, unmotivated.
Yeah.
When you're unmotivated and unfocused, undisciplined, you need fear to get
tap into it.
You have to tap into it.
For me, when I was in the zones years ago, right, I would be like, listen, bro, if I don't do this, bro, it's gonna be a long night.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long. I look at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I'm at like 2 sales out. Everybody's saying no. Everybody's looking at me like I'm not.
Nobody likes you.
Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. Nobody gives a damn about me. I'm out here, and I'm like, you know what? You can say no all day. They're telling me no. It's like you don't have that drive to like argue with them. Like, I was gonna let you go anyway. You can have a nice day. I don't give a damn anyway.
Good day.
But then you think about you've experienced a long night. Huh? What happened out there? What's the explanation? It's 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock. We're the same total. What's the problem? You're like, you know what? It's gonna be them.
That's gonna give me the motivation.
It's them or me.
Yes.
They're gonna have to feel comfortable.
If I don't make them uncomfortable, I'm gonna be uncomfortable with them tonight.
They're gonna be uncomfortable. I'm not gonna hear this all night, and so that will create a spirit of fight and urgency because there's gonna be suffering at the end of the day.
Listen, you're gonna suffer at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You're gonna suffer at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Or 12 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be inspection tomorrow to get talked to crazy, or I'm gonna be up all night talking about what happened out there, and 1,000 questions, 21 questions. I gotta explain it. You can't explain certain things because you know it's weak. I was just being weak on it.
I was angry.
Just being weak. You gotta tell everybody, the whole world. I just
didn't want to try.
I was just it's a Tuesday for me. I didn't feel like. Listen, bro. Somebody's gonna have to suffer. So you got to create fear. You got to start imagining those councils and imagining up all night and you're tired, you're sweating, you can't go home. You know, you can't relax at the house.
These are real statements. This man is saying that.
Yeah, like you know what? Forget these people, bro. They're not gonna like me, bro. They're not gonna feel comfortable.
He's explaining the battle that we all face in one arena or more.
Come.
This is what Israel a lot of times likes to choose to not focus on. They want to focus on the things that naturally they can sit back and find a passion in doing. And they'll say, yeah, I'm in the spirit because I really like doing these things.
I prefer these things.
But if we're really growing, can I sit back here in every aspect of the work that the Most High has commissioned us to do? Can I find that fear?
Or create it.
Or allow teachers or brothers to help push me, to help excite me fight my battle. Because sometimes you need somebody to push you. That was why I said some of us can have joy in certain things and we still need fear in other things.
Yeah, which is fair.
That's more of an accurate assumption for most of us in anything.
True.
Most of us don't wake up and it will just all purely have joy in every part of the work. How many of y'all have joy when y'all reading the Bible and y'all start getting tired? and sleepy? How many of y'all sit back here and push through it all the time? Okay. That means there's not a lot of fear here when it comes to studying.
Put on a pot of coffee.
Hey, listen, you better do something.
Right.
Push-ups, jumping jacks. What the hell you got to do? Put water in your face to break through it? Or it's that, or can I stay humble in counsel? When somebody's correcting me, can I stay in order? But using this fear in all aspects is important. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay? Let's continue. Where are we at? Did we go to Hebrews yet? Yeah, we did. We finished that. We finished that.
We did 31, just 31?
We know we did 30 and 31.
30 and 31.
Yeah. So now we're going to go to Job chapter 18 and Job 18 and 14. We're going to Job 18 and 14.
This is a scary scripture.
13, right?
Hell yeah. No,
18
it's
and
Job
13.
18 and 14. Let's
18
get
and 14,
who,
wow.
listen, just pull it. Don't just say it and not get up. Have the verse and then say it. Let's do it.
Job chapter 18 and verse 14 reads, His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it...
Stop right there. That alone is scary.
Yep.
That you're going to lose the thing. Your security. We're talking about security.
But see, the security is why you're not changing anyway. The security is why you have no fear of the Lord anyway.
Listen, I'm good. I have a certain amount of possessions.
Yep.
I have the situation that I like. I have my personal heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what need is there more to be? I have no need to perform more or give more to the demand that's put upon me.
Yes.
Because I'm in a situation where I like where I'm at right now.
I'm comfortable.
Or I like who I am right now.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't think I'm that bad of a guy. Well, now the Most High has to pull the confidence or your security from you to get you to start taking certain lessons and messages serious.
Yes, sir.
Is that also somebody who puts on the mindset of like a hypocrite? Them saying like, okay, well, I'm at this level and I do this and this and that, put on like an image, but they know themselves that they're not really fulfilling that person that they say they're trying to be.
Well, the hypocrite is a person whose works or whose words don't match his power.
Yeah.
What does that mean? His words don't match his capability. This is why I always say, you know what? When we sit back and read about the 5-talent person, or the 3-talent person, or the 1-talent person, you know, the crazy thing is if a person has 5 talents, why do you think the Most High was so hard on the Pharisees?
Because
The regular publican, you know what the Most High told the publican, the regular sinner?
Stop saying
Don't follow the law, man. Just follow the law and everything's gonna be okay.
Huh?
But not the publicans, but the Pharisees, he said, man, listen, you guys aren't even around the sick. For all you know, for all you learn, why aren't you in the ghettos dealing with the sick? Really healing the sick and helping them out. Why you sit back here perched here in your comfort, not getting your hands dirty with the sick?
You're a scholar.
You're a scholar. You know what the book says. And you got to commit more for what you know. There's the hypocrisy is their words and their position doesn't match their power. What they're bringing to the table. That's where the hypocrisy is.
So I'm saying, is that like a level of confidence that they had that is uprooted?
A lot of times, the confidence is in what they know. A lot of times the confidence in what we know. This is why it's so important that most of us says knowledge does what? Listen, and what does that even mean? How many of y'all read books and you close the book after like reading 2 hours and says, I've read books. I've read books. I'm learning. I'm learning. I have information in my head. I feel pretty good about myself. Now, I'm joking, I'm laughing about that, but the more you know, the more you understand, the more you have to translate that understanding into committing and giving to people.
Exactly.
Which means you lose more of your life. So all that inflation of knowledge and brain, all of a sudden, what good is it if you're in the muck with everybody else, grinding with everybody? What a lot of these Pharisees are doing, they'll have all this information and knowledge, and then all they did is hang around with other knowledge people. So it's a big waste of nothing. Big waste of ability, talent. When I'm sitting back here and arguing with other Israelites, that's why it doesn't make sense to argue with other Israelites. You know, this is the United States of America is pretty big. Why I gotta argue over this block? Why don't you go over there and teach over there? Well, you know, if you want to be a big badass teacher, all these New York guys arguing over a corner, get your ass in New Orleans and teach these guys. How about that one? Go to New Orleans and go to the 5th Ward. Go 4B, you good, son? What's that at? Go to damn Galveston, not? Or go to Port Arthur and teach some real J.
It's a big change, though.
You know what? You tough. You a big tough guy. With all this knowledge, son. Then come on down here with this real work.
And the knowledge won't
with the smoke.
But the funny part is the knowledge won't matter.
There we go. That's the point. Now I got to come down and win people and connect to people.
The books don't matter because they don't really value books. So you're gonna have to touch them a different way.
So you can't. That's my point. It was no different than people from Cali that was trying to push this Cali West Coast teachings angle. You can't use that approach when you get here in the South. When I was in Oklahoma, all that shit I learned from Cali out in the street didn't mean shit. I'm sitting back here listening to screwed up music. Like, what in the hell did I get myself into? I'm not even lying. What was that brother's houses? And they didn't have no heat. You know what they was using to heat their house at? The stove. I was like, what the cuss is going on in the city? I was like, what the hell is this? It was a whole other world. And you have to relate to them different. Deal with them. You know what that made you do? It made you humble down and listen and consider. What do you think was happening with Paul when he's dealing with barbarians and Scythians and all these weirdos in different countries?
And he was a Hebrew of Hebrews.
And he came from a place where he was a Pharisee. None of that crap mattered when you had to go out here and deal with snakes and you're getting shipwrecked and you're on Gilligan's Island, suffering out, dealing with damn cave people and warriors and warrior killers and blood drinking dudes. You gotta sit back and break down the Bible in its most simplest form. You gotta use pictures. Yeah. That's what they was doing. But that's what humbles a person. And back to your point, that's what the Most High wants us to keep tapping into. Can I sit back here and thrive in places where I'm weak at? So if we practice even to this day working on our fear, can I go at the things that I'm not strong at? Can I learn how to tap into fear
and manufacture it? Can I properly manufacture fear? What I used to
say that to you. Can you properly manufacture?
You have to have
fear?
The ability. It is a skill. The ability to manufacture fear.
How about that? I'm gonna let you say it. How do you manufacture fear? If you got 5 talents, you have to manufacture fear to double those talents. If I have 3 talents, I have to manufacture fear to get 6.
Meaning you have to use the fear to propel yourself in the arenas that you know you're not good at?
The 5 talents, that means there's 5 things I'm naturally good at. But I got to double to 10. I got to create fear in arenas where I'm not strong at. I got to find a motivation to attack things in me that I normally don't like to do.
That I may think are not necessary.
Or I just feel vulnerable in.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Even the curse from the 3 talents. Yeah. You got to sit back here and flip them to 6. I got to manufacture, you said it perfectly, I have to learn how to create fear to excite me to change what's inside of me. That ain't easy.
Or take a loss. Big time.
Or not make it.
Yeah.
Listen, you're not making it if you got 5 talents and you can't bring 10 back. You're not. 3, you better have 6. 1, you better have 2. Then the most I call that person to hit that 1 talent of faithful, a wicked and slothful, a wicked and slothful, a wicked and slothful servant. He wasn't making the kingdom. So if we don't learn how to manufacture fear, and once again, the manufacturing of fear is finding ways to excite you to make something that you don't want to do, don't like to do, are uncomfortable doing, and manufacture a way to do it.
Better create.
and get respectable at it. That's something that we're all on the hook for. The only question is how many talents you got to flip. That's the only thing nobody knows.
There's no like magic sign or email that you're gonna get that says, "Hey, you have 5 talents."
You better make it. You better make it a dime
You
piece.
say you put your information in there.
You got mail.
Hey, you have 3 talents. Okay, all I gotta do is just do these 3 things.
Nah.
And I flip that. You got 6. I'm there.
You got to live your whole life
Not
pursuing,
knowing.
doubling your talents and hoping that it was enough. But once again, the 5 or the 3 or the 1 you naturally have, you are already motivated anyway inside of you. The challenge is to find those arenas where you're not motivated and manufacture. I'm sorry. Now I just wanted to make sure I explained that manufacturing.
But manufacturing is you're making a conscious effort. Because a lot of times we're looking to be propelled.
Because we naturally do things good.
Yeah.
And that's not what the most like. It's not looking at your strength. That's what we're talking about, the bench press Israelite thing. We all like doing bench press. How about them squats, them lunges, that treadmill? Can you knock out 3 miles a day, B? Nah, I don't want to do that shit. You want to go on that treadmill first, and then go on that elliptical.
Well, people say
then go on the bike. Then do your work. Then do your stomach.
Well, what people say though, people create alternative philosophies based on where they're at. That's why there's so many variations in Israel. So people will be like, you know what, man? Just so you know, those cardio sessions aren't really necessary. Just so you know that.
Yeah.
But you kind of waste your time. I don't mind you doing it. That's your thing.
That's your thing.
But it's not really necessary. And that game we play is to our own detriment when we create justifications and philosophies and ideas and reasonings of why I don't have to do this. That's really destroying myself from getting the opportunity to get to the kingdom.
Yep.
Because now that I have certain arenas in my life that I'm weak at, we're just using cardio as an example. We know we're doing spiritual task, right? Mm-hmm. That is not that necessary. It's not that. That's just your thing. That's what Israel wants to do too. That's just you. That's what you're good at.
But see, we say that, but the manufacturing of the fear is to study why you're so good at it. Instead of saying that's your thing.
Yeah.
If I'm going to manufacture fear, I should be studying people that do things better than me.
How do you study to this degree? How and why do you put so many hours in? Why is it not boring to you?
Yes.
And why do you read these books? And why are you writing your notes? I mean, my notes, they're like, I had the same class. Why are you writing the same class over again?
But you know, in the process of doing that, you're going to be giving up a lot of vulnerabilities. Huh?
Yeah.
You're going to be telling that person how you suck at a lot of different things. Huh?
My comprehension wasn't good.
My comprehension, how I look at it, my whole mindset to what I'm not good at.
I have a hard time focusing.
Yes.
The focus demons, the reading comprehension demons, I don't want to do it anyway. Spirit, I got a million bells and whistles. Everything's a bunch of buttons popping up. I just can't focus right now. Okay. 2 years later, you're the same mentality guy. You're the same
level.
level.
We're on the hook. But listen, we're wasting life force by the minute. But we still are required to make these changes.
But then you see that one guy, the new guy coming like this. He don't know nothing. And then he starts doing this. And he starts getting good at it. He starts reading, he starts understanding. He starts getting all these notes together. And then you're like, oh.
not as a really horrible motivation.
The buttons are fucking going out. And the other person's just locking in. He's starting to get it. I believe on this.
And you start seeing those tests. He
Bible
starts
says.
knocking out tests. Like, yeah, I'm on the hook.
I gotta put these phones down. Because this guy's like, you know what? I think I can do this. I think I can change my life.
Now you think you can change your life.
I gotta do this.
When this guy's like right at the same rank as you, now I gotta take it serious.
Yeah, that's the nature.
That's like the tortoise in the hair, huh?
That's the nature of man, huh?
What kind of craziness is this, huh?
Listen, this is the nature of man, bro.
Oh my
it's
God.
like, and then listen, this is why. Like, I know I should have been doing this. I know I should have been doing this. I know I should have been doing this, but I was just distracted. Well, that's cool, but everything comes with a consequence.
Yeah.
So I need to manufacture this fear early, so that I'll put myself in these conditions.
Kinda.
We don't need the Babylonians in front of our house.
Yeah, ready to take us out. Then we want to take things serious.
Oh, here come the Babylonians.
Yeah.
It had to get to that point for any of us. You get the idea of trying to manufacture healthy fear?
Kinda. Do we understand it? Okay. Let's read verse 14 again. Job 18 and 14.
Come.
The Babylonians.
Job chapter 18 and verse 14 reads, his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle.
And this is how the Most High creates fear. No, to be specific, this is how he creates dread. And then terror. And then fright.
Yeah.
He uproots your entire confidence. Because your confidence is the reason why you can't fear the Most High. Or to be specific, your confidence and your foundation is the reason why you're not excited to make changes. Because that's what this is all about.
Well, I have to do it because I'm good at this, and this.
Exactly. So
And
the
that
Most High has to uproot your
we
entire
have
life.
a list of things that we're good at, and the Most High like, okay, I'm gonna bend the camp to where that doesn't matter anymore.
Yes.
That's what happens too.
Oh, it does,
Back in the
bro.
old camp,
Yeah.
some of us was just salesman of the year. You couldn't tell them nothing.
Now we're here in Liftfield.
Famously, brothers have just listen. You really can't check me, bro.
Yeah.
Got me in my toes. You got all kinds of schisms in the spirit, all kind of weaknesses and problems.
They're making it.
But money was made out of
Yeah.
it. And it's like, okay, cool. But you still need to work on other aspects of your spirit. Then the camp goes into a different phase. They got a whole different thing to learn.
Yep. Everything you're saying is right. But let's keep going because I want to at least get to the second part of the class. I'm hoping that it's.
But the fear
It's not
is
looking
important.
good.
Listen, the fear is a great point.
And that's kind of where I'm not sure. Should we really drive fear? Part of me is like, they got fear, but maybe they don't have fear. I don't know.
No, I'm just listen to this. I'm not trying to slow the class down.
No, we're good.
But we can just jump to the class. But at the same time, it's the different arenas where we don't fear.
And that's my
important.
point. Like, we have to be able to tap into fear to excite motivation in multiple aspects of the work that we do. When we have class of fruits of the spirit expose a lot of different things in us: long suffering, patience, mercy, love, discipline,
skills,
all the different aspects of the truth you have to have. And none of us are born with the ability to cover all these aspects strong. So we better learn how to manufacture the fear, create a motivation without having the Most High create these motivations for
and that's the thing.
Once again, fear is what naturally you have to excite you to change. The Most High will bring dread, terror, and fright. Those are the things the Most High starts to bring because you don't have the natural innate fear to make the changes yourself.
But this the preset.
I want to keep going back to that point.
This is the preset. I see more. I see it. The preset is this. The Most High's been sending us that message.
Yep.
He's been hitting us up. It's not like he's not like this guy out of nowhere. You better be afraid right now.
Yep.
Listen, bro. He sends us a message.
Yep.
Then he sends us a person to talk to us. Then he sends us a scripture. Then he sends us a class. Then we have a situation that happens.
And the collapse is still slow and gradual.
Yeah, it's Muhammad doesn't all of a sudden come with just a bunch of fear on top of you. He's been speaking and talking to us, and we're not getting the message.
Yeah.
So now there's an intensification of situations.
Yep.
No, I was just gonna say the Most High want us to motivate us internally to fear.
Yeah, he's trying to motivate. He's trying to get us to want to fear him on our own,
based off of not based off of circumstances that he create for us to go be feared. And
you know, he wants us to move. He wants us to make the changes in this particular arena based off the fact that I know if I don't, the heat's coming. Versus him creating dread, terror, and fright that will force you to make a move that you were already supposed to move anyway. We're supposed to make changes because we know the Most High is capable of wrecking our life and making our life difficult.
Giving us greater consequences.
But that's the initial mentality we have to develop and have. I have to know in the back of my head, for instance, how many of y'all when we're told something in counsel? I know when I was younger, I was given counsel. In the back of my head, I'm like, man, I got a clock. I got an internal clock. And I got so many tries before the Most High starts kicking my ass. I don't know if y'all ever experienced that shit. But when in my life, I'm like, okay, the Most High told me, you know now. Now you know. You only got so many times before there's some real consequences that start stinging you in your life. So let me sit back and operate with the mindset that if I don't make the changes in an adequate time, like now, then I'm going to suffer the consequence. Because the crazy thing is this. I can tell myself if I don't make the changes now, I'm going to get stung. But even with that type of intensity, it might take a few weeks, a few months. Well, what if you don't even have that kind of timer in the back of your head? You take years. You understand what I'm saying?
That's classical Israel.
But I'm telling you, that's how you have to have. It's like this. The Spirit tells you once. That's how I used to live. The Spirit will tell you you're doing something wrong, right? And you know it, but you'll front. Then the Most High sit back here and come right back around. Then you get a teacher to tell you. Now your ass on the clock. When you get a teacher or your husband tells you, you were told first, because Scripture even tells you.
A man's mind is more often than 7 watchmen.
That's my point. A man's mind is more often than going to tell you what's wrong than 7 watchmen. So you know already you're messing up or you're slipping. But when it comes to you from a counsel, now it's a matter of time before you get banged up.
And I gotta say this too. And this is why it's
For those of y'all in the camp, y'all know I'm telling the truth.
And this is why it's so
That's
important.
universal.
This is so important to go to counsel and to seek counsel. It's important because you often on our own we don't have enough of it's a blind spot or it's a rebellious area in your development. We don't have the mind to comprehend it because we don't want to hear the idea. We don't want to accept the notion. So now I need to bring things to the light. I need to bring things to counsel. I need to bring things around multiple sets of eyes to get multiple opinions and multiple viewpoints to give material so I can go back home and start manufacturing that fear, that healthy fear.
Yep.
I gotta take things not
what you're saying, that's a proactive approach versus having to lose to change.
Yeah.
You know, if you're learning, you're starting to catch on. You can learn from seeing other men make mistakes.
Yeah, big time.
How many times have you seen men lose things and say, man, if I don't change, I'm going to lose right behind him? That's how you're supposed to operate. You're supposed to learn from other men's mistakes. That's how you can circumvent years of wasted time, failure, and loss. Because the more times you do something the wrong way, and you fail and you hit rock bottom, it affects your ego.
Yeah.
It affects your confidence. So let's not waste time. Let's work on being fearful and having the right fear. The right fear is having enough motivation to know that the Most High is right about to sting you if you don't make adjustments. When I used to read in Revelation about how there's an angel for every hour of the day, that should keep you in the mind. Hey, there's somebody looking at you, bro. And he's like, this nigga did this. He shouldn't have did that. He shouldn't have did that. That kind of helped me. Like, okay, Most High's looking at me right now, I better change up. Versus sitting back here and having to fall. Does that make sense? That's part of manufacturing fear. The fact that all eyes are on you, even though all eyes are not on you.
And our nation, look at it as a nation, our nation doesn't have the skill set.
Because we don't practice, we don't talk about it. Listen, half Israel's problem is that they want to hide their flaws. They don't want nobody to see their weakness. Am I right? Nobody wants to show vulnerability.
So, with that, now we can never peel to the core of the onion. And now we're always dealing with symptoms. And so the counsels are almost ineffective to the root of the problem.
The best way to do it is, okay, listen, let me say my weakness, not do it again after I figure it out. Now it's not a weakness anymore. That's true strength. Let me bring out my flaw to only the teachers or counselors. I'm not saying blabber to everybody. But talk to the right person you got to talk to, get it out, change, and it's not a problem anymore. Why waste years? So many of us waste years hiding. And you think nobody sees it. We see everything like that. Because you know what's crazy? Even if we don't, I can just speak for me, Shamshwan and Dawiyah. One guy might be bamboozled. Yeah, this brother's really on point, huh? But it's always in the person, I'm not buying this cat out. It's always that way. And I'm like, what do you mean, bro? He's doing this, he's making these changes, his salute is fire. The garment's on point. He has fringes every day. And I'm like, this guy's on point. Then it'd be like a 2-to-1 voice. Nah, this dude is off. It's something off with this guy. And then the people switch. Then Shamshwan might be like, this guy's on point. And me and I'm like, or now I just put his on point. I'm like, no, he ain't.
He got you.
He got you. No! And then 3 or 4 months later, I'm like, now I see what you're saying.
Yeah, come on. I get it out.
It's the truth. We've all got bamboozled and hustled that way out. We've all been hustled. What am I trying to say? Everybody sees everybody. Somebody sees your poo-poo act. Somebody sees it. And that's the Most High keeping everybody humble. So you're wasting your time hiding it. You might as well let it all out so somebody can work on it so you can change. The cover-up is worse than the offense.
True.
The fact that you're hiding it makes you even more guilty. Be clean. I'm not going to use the movie I got it from. I was going to say a movie. Die clean, white man. Die clean. It was a great movie that said that. What you going to say?
The benefit is, at least by getting it out, if it takes you some time to get to manufacture, it takes you time to get the ball rolling, at least it's out there in the elements so that you can little by little start building something.
And I'm going to say this.
Momentum.
Sometimes you might not know exactly all the issues that's inside of you. But if you're giving your counselor just whatever's popping through your head, you know what brothers don't like to do? They don't like giving dark reports out. Everybody wants to say, I am spiritual today, brother. Highly whole, neighbor. Just want to call you and let you know that I'm strong. I'm fighting in the spirit of Christ. Oakley dokley, neighbor. Just want to let you know we're on point.
I healed the man.
I put my hand to this man. We counseled today. And we prayed before we went to work today. I don't want to hear that simple thank you. That's good. You're supposed to do these good things for the people. Can you tell me where you want to be negative and where your head is negative and you got negative thoughts? Can I hear the worst of you? Listen, as a counselor, I need to hear that.
Why?
Baby, be whole.
Why?
Why?
So we can.
Because I want to throw it back in your face later.
No.
Stop. I'm being silly. That's what people think. I'm saying that because people think that.
People think.
People think I want to throw it back in their face. They want to judge me, man. They want to judge me, bro. I'm not going to let them judge me. No, this is the situation. A lot of times, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to make sure I clarify myself. I was being silly, but when you start to talk about your issues, you're allowing your teacher to start to understand your patterns better. The more they can understand your patterns, the more you're able to sit back here and get a proper scan of what you need to change. What's specifically the problem?
God.
So we can work on the problem. I'd rather have a problem in my face that we're working on every day in class and counsel and communication than we're sitting back here and we know something's fishy. There's something ungenuine about your conversations. We're just going to all play the game until you can't hide the sin any longer. Because regardless of what we do, you can front like you're on point for only so long. Right or wrong? A bad report is one bad day away. So why wait for that bad day? Let's just be proactive about the situation. This is why it's so important. That's why you talk. So the teachers have more information to help you.
And when you're dealing with assessments in the medical world, they have to run multiple tests to properly and clearly assess what specific issues going on and where specifically is at, and how can we get the medics into that point of the body. In boxing, they have to know, okay, cool, where is he not protected at? You got a great right hook, fantastic, but you don't have, you're not really guarding the other side. You're not maintaining your form. So you can get, in this situation, you can get knocked out like this.
And what starts the erosion process? It's easy to sit back and say, oh, you sinned today. But what pattern do you go through where you start to mentally and spiritually erode? If you take enough time to analyze husbands, wives, brothers, you can start seeing a slow deterioration over time. Whereas a person might be strong, they're studying, they're communicating, then all of a sudden, what changes happen in their life where they start to mentally erode? And if you spend time with a person long enough, if they allow you to counsel with them, you'll start seeing these patterns reoccur consistently. Because all of us fall into different patterns. All of us fall into different ways of analyzing it. Nobody that sits back here and this month they're on point. Next month they start breaking down. 3 months now they change and they change everything. That's not how we operate. We slightly make adjustments. So the need to communicate all the specifics is everything. What motivates you to react this way? Not just the reaction, what motivates that reaction. But a lot of times brothers don't understand that, so they just got to get into a habit of downloading their day. And letting that download, letting the brother hear the download enough times where they can kind of get a grasp of where things are going. Does that make sense? It's not used to throw things back in your face. And if something is brought back to you, it's to get you to see a what? It's to get you to see your own pattern. Because most of us don't even know our patterns.
We live in denial.
We don't know our patterns. We don't even know when we're starting to erode. Most of us aren't aware enough to determine when we're eroding, how much we're eroding, what we need to get ourselves back on point. We don't know it enough. So that's where you need the extra eyes there.
And we also learn by repetition. We can't hide from that either.
Yeah.
So much we want to say it, we don't pick up as we're not as smart as we say we are.
No doubt.
Because otherwise we wouldn't be here.
Yep.
So you need repetition to pick up certain things. Yes, sir.
Reset.
What you got?
Ecclesiastes 31, 21, 22.
Let's just see.
There's a need for repetition to make sure things stick. So if I only counsel once every 3 months, then it's not going to stick. It's not going to stick, bro.
It's not. Especially in arenas that are really problematic for you.
Exactly.
So Ecclesiastes 31 and what?
31, 21, 22.
21, 22. Read
31.
that. 31, 21.
Ecclesiastes chapter 31, verse 21. And if thou hast
Show them, everybody.
And if thou hast been forced to eat, arise, go forth, vomit, and thou shalt have rest.
Listen, that obviously this is talking about physical, but spiritually you can look at it too.
Yeah.
If you're consuming something that's not good for your spirit, consuming negative thoughts, have negative patterns, getting things out, you'll find rest in vomiting. Ear vomiting, more importantly. Okay? This is why counsels are important amongst brothers. This is why marriage counseling is important. All things and entities and scenarios that bring issues to the forefront is necessary for there to be peace of mind again.
Yeah.
In this situation, you're dealing with physical vomiting, but when you're vomiting out what's in your head, everybody can operate more potently and efficiently if we get counsel out. Okay? What's that? I'm sorry.
After this, I'm going to
Okay.
My son, hear me, and despise me not. And at the last thou shalt find as I told thee, and all thy works be quick. So shall there no sickness come unto thee.
It's a great verse, sir.
Be quick. Stop wasting time.
Procrastinating. Great verse.
Stop procrastinating.
God?
Because the procrastination creates sickness because infection stays in that same situation.
God.
The infection intensifies or stagnates further in that condition.
God? It's the same thing in medical terms.
Yeah.
If you don't deal with the sickness quickly, it's going to grow and grow as you get out of control. Same thing with a negative mindset.
God.
Go for it.
But we want to play deceptive games. We want to sit here and just live in
Procrastinate.
denial. Or we want to just sit here. I'm only going to do it when it's the absolute, it's uncontrollable. I'm at a breaking point. Because I'm at a breaking point, now I'll counsel. Well, your counsel might take a couple days to get to you. You might not get the counsel you wanted. Because brothers are busy at the same time. So you have to create healthy cycles of counseling, healthy cycles of communication. Let's get Proverbs 28 and verse 13 on the same topic. Proverbs 28 and verse 13.
Proverbs 28 and verse 13.
Uh-huh.
He that covereth his sin shall not prosper.
He that does what?
Cover his sin shall not prosper.
I'm covering my sins by what? Being vague, not communicating properly.
Yep.
Giving these, deflective conversations. Read.
But whoso confesseth and forsaketh them.
But whoso confesseth and forsaketh, this is the opposite approach. I'm just going to sit here and tell you what's in my head, what I'm dealing with, my situation. He that what?
But whoso confesseth and forsaketh them.
Read on.
Shall have mercy.
Shall have what?
Shall have mercy.
The guy that gets mercy is the one that consistently communicates and vomits and vents. But the one that doesn't get mercy, the one that's in the spirit of deflecting and hiding and being ambiguous.
Yep.
And abstract.
It's the truth. Got more?
That's all I want to put.
Okay, let's continue in Job 18, verse 14, and we're going to go jump to Proverbs, it's 28 and 14. We're going to go there next. So,
okay, there we go.
we're gonna go there, but let's finish Job, and then we're going to go to verse 14 in that same chapter. Read that.
Come. Job chapter 18 and verse 14 reads, His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terror.
That person's lack of a willingness to come out of their confidence is why the Most High has to bring terrors to you, which is that third level of fear needed just to excite you to change. Once again, the first level of spiritual maturity is to find a way to excite yourself to make a change by the anticipation that if you don't change, the Most High is going to sting you. The anticipation or knowledge that the Most High is going to punish you should be enough to get you to start making changes in your life. We'll sit back here and talk to brothers like, we counsel y'all for years and months, and you don't change. It's almost like, so this is why the Most High starts to escalate those fears. We read earlier in the beginning of class about his fear, then it's dread, then it's terror, then it's fright. We can all look at all those different definitions. They're elevated aspects of fear. If you're not going to fear me, now the Most High has to create the scenario.
Based on stubbornness.
Based on how stubborn you are to excite you to make the change. So let's not allow the Most High to create and manufacture these fearful, terrifying moments. Just use the knowledge and the understanding that if you don't change, the Most High will bring the terror to motivate you to change.
Be proactive and manufacture the fear yourself. Then be proactive and manufacture the joy.
That comes later.
It's the same
exactly.
process. It's the same exact process as proactivity versus reactivity. Can I manufacture the joy?
The person that's reactionary, the person that's reactionary doesn't fear the Most High, and therefore fear has to be created for him.
Yeah.
Fearful, terrifying. You know what's fearful? The threat of loss.
Yep.
The threat of starting all over again. The threat of loneliness.
Yeah.
These are all, this is what ends up happening to people that are proactive. When you're reactive, you're reacting to your losses. You're reacting to things the Most High has taken away.
Because of this, I will now do this.
Because, you know why you're reactionary? Because you've never learned to create and manufacture fear of your own. You've never found a way to excite yourself enough to change.
But this is significant. It's a significant skill to have.
Is everybody understanding what we're saying? I hope. Are we? Seriously. There's a difference between growth and treading water.
Yeah.
And going backwards. Because if you can't create fear, you're going to keep losing. And the losses keep ramping up, and they get higher and higher and higher.
And then it's the truth's fault. Then it's the camp's fault. Then it's the elder's fault.
Yeah.
Then it's the captain's fault. Then it's the rib's fault. It's everybody's fault.
It's everybody's fault for the fact that you're reactionary. You don't want to create motivation to change.
Yeah.
Anyway, we keep sounding like a broken record, but we're trying to find different ways to get everybody to. What is it going to take to get each and every one of us excited enough to make alterations in our life?
And the proper steps are consistent daily, if not every other day, venting to give your whoever's your counselor readouts of you, and then consistently reading to pull in reasons, biblical, spiritual reasons, to create that positive fear.
Because the readouts that the teacher gives or is getting helps give you the ammunition to change how you think. I don't know if you've ever had to counsel and teach somebody that is completely convinced convinced to look at something in a negative way. How many of y'all have had to experience that in your life? Whether it's a husband, a brother, a daughter, a wife, they just look at things ass backwards. How many months, years does it take for every weirdo thought they have to counteract that weirdo thought with 15 positive thoughts? And then all of a sudden, for that moment, they're a different person.
This is life.
You ever like seen a person like you counsel them and you keep changing and showing them a different way to look at their skewed way of looking at things? And then after you compound their 2 or 3 horrible thoughts with 25 positive ones, a spirit leaves them. And then what happens? An hour later,
Right back.
they're fucking crazy again, huh?
It's the example of salt.
It's like they just,
It-
they just like, it's like you're dealing with these thriller beasts. It's like a demon again, huh? Am I lying or not?
You just
You ever deal with all this
you just-
negative
you
outlook,
just
huh?
Michael 5 minutes ago.
You're like, what happened?
That
huh?
spirit came back there. He's like,
That's exactly, yeah. I'm trying to explain.
I'm sorry. Get his back.
Get it better, not mess with no game. Listen, all I'm trying to explain, and I'm not trying to get too silly with this, I'm just trying to explain how much work it takes to helping clear thoughts. It is an everyday
Filtration.
For those of y'all who've counseled, for those of y'all who've had to clear thoughts, it's an everyday thing. But if the person that you're working with every day is vomiting towards you, now you can help clear their thoughts because they actually want to change.
It's manageable sickness.
But you gotta vomit every day. You gotta vomit this putrid way of looking at things, and then somebody else counter that putrid thinking to clear the thoughts enough, consistently enough. People think counseling is a one-time thing, huh? Rehabilitation takes years. Years of talking and sharing and explaining viewpoints, and then the teacher having to counteract those viewpoints, counteract this, verse, talk, and it's a constant back and forth.
The Bible calls it a stronghold. If you only
Thank
took
you.
if it only took one magic counsel, the Bible would not call it a stronghold.
Kind of.
It's a stronghold as a stronghold.
How many of y'all have built ditches in the military?
One more time.
Built ditches in the military. I didn't say the other word. I said ditches.
Little ditches?
I didn't have to do that.
Okay, you're lucky, man. You was one of those naval guys. You're the easy work guy. No, but the point is this: when you're digging ditches, bro, and trenches and fortifications, they're built to withstand bombing. They're built to withstand blows and any type of artillery shells that hit it. This is what's been making even the war in Ukraine and Russia even that much more difficult. They started building trenches since 2014 and strongholds and fortifications that took months and months and months to start breaking down. So it's even the same concept. They started this war in February, and it took 8 to 10 months of bombing, and not just regular bombs, incendiary bombs, where they're bombing these locations, and the fire and the bombs create these mega fires.
And he saw men just burnt up all. Man, it was bad.
There was this place in Mariupol where everybody was underground, and a lot of these Ukrainians, these army guys, were underground in Mariupol for like 6 months, bro. I'm gonna say 3 to 4 months, and the Russian was constantly bombarding them, But they had that place stored with food and supplies that lasted them like 3 or 4 months. But this is an example of a stronghold, like Daliah said. So when you're going at a person's mind, this is every day.
There's supply. Listen, there is a reason you do what you do. There's a reason I do what I do. And I got layer 1 reason. Okay, you got past that? Okay, I got layer number 2.
And I got 50 layers.
Woo, I got about another 2 years to tell you why I still do this. Then you have.
I hope y'all listen to this. When you know what the person's real issue, there's so many layers and justifications why they don't change. We always talk about counsel like you're peeling an onion. You just got to peel multiple layers of onion to get to the real root of a person, and that takes years.
And
to even help this person manufacture fear.
And the counselor can't be the guy just to rip all the layers off. Listen, we don't have that ability, bro, just to rip layers off.
They have to want the layers ripped.
Will thou be made whole?
But see, you know how you can show the Most High, I want the layers ripped? Go to get counsel from a physical person. So we'll sit back here and we'll pray to the Most High. Please take these layers from me. I have so many negative thoughts. Now we're religious people now, because you need a person to sit back and help. You have to be humble. It's easy to tell the Most High your problems, but you ain't sit back and tell a brother your problems.
Lord knows you my heart.
It's like, only God can judge me. Everyone will be popped now.
Only God can judge me.
And now everyone will be popped out. Can we sit back and get counsel from a person so they can help peel these layers off of your negative thinking? So now we can sit back and create the fear to excite us enough to change. But you need the motivants to do it. Anyway.
And this class, if you take it the right way and learn it the right way, it will save you years of regret.
Yes.
Because there's issues of why it's taking so long to get past something. Then you have layers of regret that make your experience bitter in the work. Because things that didn't have to take that long.
They took long.
Yeah. And then there's things you have in your spirit that's really a problem that you didn't even know you had a problem, and that's gonna take a long time to get past. But you're still working on level 1. You're still on level 1.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say the concept of fear goes good with the class we drop on. Don't let shame. Don't let shame. It goes great with that.
Listen, hopefully all the classes kind of like conceptually fit in and match. We're just trying to help people find different type of leverage to overcome what's inside of them. We all need different leverage and motivational tactics to get to the best side of us. And we also have to understand that even in the things we work on every day, there's different levels of achievement in the things that we operate every day. What is your why? What's your reason? That's one of the things we can always work on as we're elevating in this knowledge. What is your reason? What's your why? That's just as important as that. Knowing that allows you to perfect your. So remember Hebrews 6. Somebody give me Hebrews 6:1. Hebrews 6:1.
Hebrews chapter 6, verse 1.
Read that.
Therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Christ.
Listen, what are one of the principles of the doctrine of Christ? What are one of the principles of it? Fearing the Lord. That's one of the principles, right?
Yeah.
Fearing the Lord is the beginning of what? Knowledge. Right? Fearing the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So now Paul's like, can we get past the principles? Read on.
Let us go on unto perfection.
Now, church folks want to sit back and take a concept like this to do away with the law altogether and just let's sit back and focus on love. But that's not what this is saying. What it's saying is, can we evolve in one form? Can we evolve from just doing the work because we have to follow orders because we don't want to get in trouble in following these orders? We don't want to get suspended rank. We don't want to sit back here and get das Boot. We don't want to get kicked out. We don't want to get gone into. These are a lot of very simplistic motivations as to why we do things, which are principal concepts. Can we get to the point where we change? Read that part. I don't want to finish up. Read verse 1 again.
Therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Christ, let us go on unto perfection.
Let's go to perfection. Perfection. Part of perfection is an elevated motivation behind doing the things that we do. Can we perfect our motivation? Can we perfect our reasons for change? Can we perfect our reasons for being in order? Can we perfect our reasons for studying? Can we perfect our reasons for pursuing different achievements?
And that's progress. That's real internal progress. A lot of times we look at progress as a collection of things, trinkets, vehicles, living spaces, outfits, purses for sisters, just different physical trinkets, or I got to cut here, I got to cut there. We look at these physical things as tangible achievements of why I'm growing. When what the Most High is really looking for, what He really cares about is, hey, you know what? You're evolving as a man.
Internally, from the inside out.
You're internally evolving as a man.
Your reasons for getting up in the morning have changed. your reasons for operating every day has changed. Why you do what you do has changed. It's not, people think growth, a lot of people think growth is about changing things, changing your scenery. You can't, listen, you will be surprised how many brothers that I've worked with in the truth felt growth was just leaving a city. There's nothing wrong with leaving cities, because that's part of what
That's initial.
opens, expands the truth. But some people would feel like they're not getting anything done, so they would leave, and that would give them the fulfillment that I'm growing because I left a city. That's not growth. It is growth if you've completed what's inside of you. But if I'm leaving just to leave because a change of scenery makes me feel good, then is that growth? Now, if I'm leaving to just increase and add on to the work, cool.
That's good.
But if I'm leaving for a feeling, if I'm leaving to feel like I'm doing something more, then that's not good.
That's equivalent to, I moved my apartment from here to here.
Yes.
And now I'm on this side of town, so I'm growing. Now,
or I got a different size house or a different size apartment.
My house whole, I went from being on this many square footage, and now my square footage is this much. Or I moved to a different bracket. The Most High is not on a carnal level necessarily focused on that.
Yes.
What the Most High is really looking at is, are you evolving in conscious?
Yes.
The scripture says, store your treasures in heaven.
But the consciousness is your thinking.
Yeah. And
your motivation.
So if you're under orders to make a decision and make a move and travel and do this and do that, that's beautiful. That's supposed to happen.
No doubt.
But you got, with that, there has to be, the scripture says a wise man's well what? Travel, right? Meaning what? I have different experiences that have, that's the benefit of traveling, right?
Yes.
I have experiences that have affected me.
Let me explain, just so I can try to explain more. A lot of times, growth is in depth. It's north-south versus east-west. A lot of us like to grow horizontally versus vertically. I can sit back here and continue to master what I do every day, doing the same thing. Now, if I can take that mentality and master different aspects of my life vertically. A lot of times, all I can tell you is people like to change the scenery and call it growth.
You explained to me years ago.
We talked about it, and that's where it's coming from.
But you explained that you have to add to your foundation. You just call it adding to the foundation.
But that's going vertically versus, because a lot of people like to, whatever I got going on, I like to just rip up this foundation and try something new. Rip this up, try something new. And trying something new is growth. No, learning and mastering the sequence and the right process of things and working your way up, that's growth. Does that make sense?
I'm becoming more efficient at my communication. I'm more efficient at my counsel. I'm more clear in my thinking.
I'm more clear in my teaching. I have a greater understanding. A person, if I'm a good teacher, people think teaching is about being deep. Teaching is taking a complex topic and making it simple. So I don't got to get big and extravagant with it. If I understand it, I can explain it to anybody. Let's just build north-south and understand what I'm trying to do, understand what we're trying to do. That's how you grow. All I'm trying to do is a lot of times we think leaving and running and starting something new and changing something is the answer. The change of scenery is the answer. The understanding what I'm doing the right way is the answer.
For example, people will do this in relationships.
Yes.
Okay, this relationship's not working.
We go another one.
Cut it off. Next relationship. They'll look up. 5 years later, they'll have maybe 7 different relationships they've been in. When the answer is, I'm in this relationship. Now, what can I do within the confines of this relationship I'm already in?
Yep. Within the confines of my choice.
With the confines of my decision.
Yes.
What can I do and be more efficient in in my communication, more efficient in my leadership, more efficient in my cleanliness,
My
more
responsibility.
efficient in my responsibility, more efficient in my tolerance, more efficient in my ability to understand the need of the person in front of me.
Yes.
Because a lot of us have the inability, we lack the ability to connect with people.
Yes.
Because we're consumed with ourselves.
Yes.
So because I'm so self-consumed, it's harder to love someone or love people around me. So can I let myself go and start to really put my focus in the people in my life immediately in my life? That works out. That shows in how you conduct relationships.
Yep.
But saying, okay, I'm gonna cut this person off next, cut this person off next, cut this person off next.
Because the connections aren't just easy.
I got new hair textures. I got different skin colors. I got different heights. You might have got different accents. But did you develop the ability to connect and touch that spirit spiritually, the correct way, and make it proper and work, and then take their defects and slowly break down the defects and help the defects become strengths over time through counsel, wisdom, example, and all different methodologies the Bible shows us. That is a skill within the confines of the demand that's on you or your daily agenda. But looking to, okay, I don't want my son oils no more. I'm doing something new. Okay, cool. Then we're going to live boxes every day. Oh, this box is kind of
Let's try something
okay,
new.
let's drive a truck. I'm driving a truck. I'm tired of driving trucks. I'm going to fly an airplane tomorrow to the camp.
Yes.
Okay, bro, listen, bro. Growth is this, whatever you're doing, get good
you
at
master
it
it?
and train the next man. Can you train the next man to become better than you at that arena? Can you make him a better salesman than you were? Can you make the man a more responsible and a sharper, more efficient guy that can direct the team and also solve problems on a mechanical level and dealing with boxes and movements? Can you be a brother that's a more skillful trainer of men when it comes to trucks and give men the best proper approach and streamline the system so that now we can have a slot system for new men so it's easier to train? That's the perfecting of things. We don't look at the perfecting of things. We want to try new things because we get bored because we have a childlike mind. That's the facts. So what this class is showing is if you're going to create the healthy fear, if you're going to create ways to improve yourself and better yourself, then guess what? It should reflect in your efficiency and it should reflect in your process, your daily process.
Got it. Let's read Hebrews 6:1. You're right on. I just want to kind of read it.
Hebrews chapter 6, verse 1. Therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Christ, let us go on unto perfection.
And once again, the perfection is improving the things that we do every day. Whether it's the motivation, the efficiency, the consistency, just perfecting the day-to-day overall operations.
So now wherever you're needed at, wherever you go, wherever the Spirit takes you, you're not just there at level 2, the guy that can't talk.
Yes.
I'm underwater, I'm the guy that can't talk.
Yep.
I'm on the mountain, I'm the guy that can't talk. Just look at you like this. Shalom, man. Got head issues, I can't tell you.
Yeah. Got it.
You know? The Most High is trying to help. He wants all of us to grow, bro.
But there has to be a proactiveness in us to do it. Okay, let's continue.
Now laying again the foundation of repentance from dead works.
So growth is getting to the point where I'm not making the same mistakes over and over again. Not having to repent from dead works. So once again, if I don't want to repent from dead works, then my motivations, my inspirations, my efficiency has to continue to improve in my long suffering, my patience, my mercy, my discipline, my humility, all the fruits of the Spirit that I have to encounter. Read on.
And his faith
towards the Most High.
And his faith toward the Most High.
We're going to let that verse go, and we're going to go to, let's go to Proverbs 28 and 14, and then we're going to jump to Ecclesiasticus 25 and 12. So the first one is Proverbs. We can get that real quick.
Proverbs 28, verse 14.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get that real quick.
Constant.
Proverbs 28 and 14. Let's get it.
Proverbs 28, verse 14. Happy is the man that feareth always.
But see, in order to even get to that point, that's a different level of spiritual maturity. Happy is the man that fears always. How does that even work? You're happy once you commit yourself to exciting yourself to change, because you know the Most High is looking at you and there's consequences for not changing. What ends up making a man happy? Let's think about this. What makes a man or a woman eventually happy? Living day to day, knowing that if you don't make the changes, there's real loss coming to you. How do you end up being happy when you're living under that type of tension and pressure? Because one person will say, operating in fear of the Most High is a lot of pressure. It's a high pressure job. Knowing that if you make mistakes, you're going to lose. Right?
Right.
So some person might say that fear is pressure, and it's hard to operate under that kind of pressure. But how is it that a person is happy if they live in fear?
It became a standard.
It became a standard, yes, but give me some more.
You gotta accept the terms and conditions that are given to you, and that's what I think of.
What makes a man happy? It kind of ties in. I'm gonna give the definition to the second level of growth and maturity, and it will help give clarity to this answer. Okay, so hold this. We're still gonna go here, so hold this. The Proverbs 28:14 says what? Happy is the man that feareth always. So we're going to find out, why is the person that fears or is motivated and excited by the Most High stinging if we don't change? Why? So I need somebody to look into joy on the 1828. To have joy. Joy, and I want the first definition. I want the first definition of joy.
Come.
Read it.
Ready? Joy, the passion or emotion excited by the acquisition or expectation of good.
So joy is the passion or emotion. Is that word excited again?
Yeah.
That's that action, that motivation now. So the passion or emotion excited by the acquisition or expectation of good. So when a person every day operates in the mental space where fear is their motivation, if I don't change, the Most High is going to sting me. If I keep that mindset, eventually operating and being excited by fear will turn into happiness. But why will the motivation change and turn into happiness or joy? Because according to the definition, it's passion excited by the acquisition or expectation of good. What is that saying?
There's a blessing at the end.
The rewards that come make you happy now. Now what the second phase of motivation is that now we change because rewards are going to come to us. And we know if we hold on long enough, a blessing's coming.
Before it was I made moves because
I better, I'm going to get my ass kicked if I don't change.
But now, hey.
Now is I've learned that if I keep fighting, I'm going to get a blessing at the end. You see how there's two, now that's the second level of a more elevated spiritual maturity. And that's why a person can be happy. And that happiness is the second level from operating in a fearful mentality of the Heavenly Father. So the goal for us is to change, not just because I'm changing because I don't want to get stung and fall. We got to change from that to I want to change because I know the Most High is bringing a blessing if I do. And that's why I say, in different aspects of our life, some of us change certain things in our life out of joy, out of the expectation of good, and you can also, in other arenas, you change because if you know you don't get stung. Does that make sense? In certain arenas, we change because we got to change, or we're going to lose it all. Others, because we've seen the Most High come through for us, so we got to keep this momentum up, and He'll keep blessing us. So we can that's a second phase of what motivates us to get us to change.
It's a spiritual graduation.
But that's graduation. But that's where the happiness evolves from the fear. Your Christians like to sit back here and say, fear doesn't. It's just fear. It says fear. It's in another verse.
There's no fear in perfect love.
There's no fear in perfect love. But the point is, that's because a person evolved from fear into love.
It's not throw away the commandments.
No.
And say I love Jesus. That is a bastardized perception.
The point. But now it's like, I don't have to change because I'm afraid to lose. I'm going to change because I know what there is to gain.
Yeah.
That's the different mindset. That's the maturity. That's the leveling up versus changing from fear to love like it's a new thing. It's not a new thing. It's just a higher level of understanding.
It's further development.
Han.
I'm advancing past getting whips and lashes and consequences to now, hey, if I keep doing the right thing, Most High gives me blessings. He gives me hookers.
And this is how we have to start looking at growth. Are you changing because you're afraid of loss, or are you changing because you know there's an expectation of good if you hold on and you hold fast to that, which is true? Yes.
Like a person that was dealing so long with depression and mental instability, they're changing. They're starting to put on this mindset of fear because they're afraid of having that mental instability. But then it graduates into, okay, now I know if I keep changing, if I keep trying, then I get that mental stability. I get more mental stability. I get more
blessings.
More blessings.
Now children are secure.
Yeah.
Household secure. Now I have tangible things that I know if I stay on point will be secure and taken care of.
Uh-huh.
And that's where that joy motivation is evolved from fear of loss. Now it goes from fear of loss to trusting, and if I stay on point, I'll gain.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Precept real quick?
No, I can't do that because I don't want to go into precept town on joy yet. I just want to kind of explain it and then go back into the fear aspect. So let's go to Proverbs 28:14 again.
Proverbs 28, verse 14. Happy is the man that feareth always.
Now we understand where the happiness comes in, because when you keep fearing and you're trained by fear, you'll start seeing the Most High bless you because you stayed in order. Make sure that's long.
Oh, yeah, back there.
I just want to make sure. So, what are we saying? That fear is a motivation to change. If you fear and you stay inspired from fear, then you'll start seeing the rewards come in. And the more you see the Most High come through for you, because fear was your motivation, then you no longer need fear. Now you can trust that if I stay on point, the Most High will reward me. Fear, then it's a reward. Now all of a sudden a relationship is a rewards-based relationship, which is still, there's another level beyond the rewards-based relationship, but that's better than a fears-based relationship. That makes sense? Okay, let's continue.
Proverbs 28, verse 14. Happy is the man that feareth always, but he that hardeneth his heart shall fall into mischief.
Now that person that hardens his heart and doesn't listen, now you got what? You got what was those words again? It was fear. It was
fear, dread.
Dread. Yeah, the dread. It was dread, shit, terror, and fright. Those are real things.
Fright and terror.
So when you got people with those near-death experiences, guess what that is? That's called fright. I mean, I've heard brothers back in the day say, yeah, man, it was this dude that had his gun right at me, and he pulled the trigger, and the gun misfired, and he ran over. That is what you call fright, my friend. And that is the spirit telling you to get your ass back in class and come back to him. That's fright. That's not even terror. That's pure fright. How about that one, huh? But you see the point, though, right? And that's what happens when you don't operate in fear. He creates and manifests the fear to get you to fear him. Does it all make sense? I hope it does. Okay.
Perspective changes.
So now let's go to Ecclesiasticus 25 in the Apocrypha. And once again, it lets us know our growth. Really, we're doing the same thing every day. We're teaching our people. We're fighting. We're working for each other. But the growth is in how you look at things. And the reason why you do the things you do. And the motivations behind why you do it. That's how we show the Most High we have grown.
Ecclesiastes chapter 25 verse 12. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of his love.
And that's the point. Now this kind of grows into, evolves, because first of all in Proverbs it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge.
Yeah.
But it also is saying the fear of the Lord is the beginning of his love. Because when you start to think in the back of your mind that the Most High is looking after you, and if you don't change, you're going to get stung, that's the beginning of learning how to love him. That's the beginning of finding joy in serving the Heavenly Father. Once you can master your fear. Once you can master your fear, then it elevates to joy and love in serving the Heavenly Father. Now your relationship evolves and it becomes stronger, and your bond becomes stronger with the Heavenly Father. Okay? Read on.
And faith is the beginning of cleaving unto him.
It's still about getting closer to the Most High. You get closer to the Most High, you gain, make sure you look before you open. You gain closeness to the Most High based off your thinking changing, your thinking improving, your mental processes improving. Does that make sense? That's how you cleave. There's nothing physical to it. It's your mind changes. Okay, let that verse go. We're going to go to Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha, chapter 18, 19. Verse 18 through 20 and verse 24.
I get it.
Okay. Ecclesiastes 18
18 to 20.
No, well, yeah, 18 through 20. So it's chapter 19.
19.
It's chapter 19, and it's verse 18 through 20. We're just gonna get through the fear today. Then we'll evolve in. Well, if we got time, then we'll go into joy, and then we'll do the third one. Maybe we can mix the joy and the third one next time. Don't tell the people what it is, man. I was trying to keep it. I said the third part. I didn't say it the whole time today. Oh, man, spilling beans out here. But don't even rewind it. I know everybody didn't hear it. Don't rewind it. Anyway, let's read it. Ecclesiasticus 19, verse 18.
Come. Ecclesiasticus chapter 19, verse 18 reads, "The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him."
It's clear, bro. The first step to being accepted of the Most High is to have the ability to manufacture the desire to change. The first step of being accepted to the Most High is, can you excite yourself to make changes? Can you excite yourself out of a fear of loss to actually make the changes necessary? And when you start to make those changes and you're using the motivation of loss as your motivation, that's how you learn. That's the first step of being accepted with the Heavenly Father. So what's the most important thing? Is it the change or how you changed? The tool and the motivation you found in yourself to get the damn job done. That's what he's looking at. What did this man or woman do to make the change inside of them? What did they have to do to muster up the zeal to fix what's inside of them? And based off what we're using, we're showing the Most High what level of spiritual growth we're at. Read on.
Come.
Read it from the top again.
The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him.
Mm-hmm.
And wisdom obtaineth his love.
And wisdom obtains his love. So the correct application of knowledge is how you sit back here and obtain the love. It's still based off strategy and motivation. Strategy, motivation, intent is what he's looking at. Read on.
Come. Verse 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life.
Mm-hmm.
And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality.
So the works and the motivation behind the works is what it takes to get the fruit of the tree of immortality. How do you get from point A to point Z? What gets you up in the morning to make these changes? What fuels you? What keeps you consistent? You have knowledge. It's one thing to have knowledge of how to do something. What's the difference between knowledge and wisdom?
The correct application.
It's the but in order to apply something properly, you already have the information. What does it take to apply something properly?
The motivation.
Fear.
It's the fear. It's the motivation. We got listen. Knowledge is the how-to, but the execution is the wisdom. How do you execute something? Your fear better be on top. You better have the proper motivation to execute what you know.
I know not to smoke. But wisdom was, I'm not going to smoke because I already know what's happening.
But that's where that fear. So I gotta have fear to fuel. I have to have fear and something to drive me, to sustain me from, to keep and apply what's in front of me that I know. We'll all get counsel, we'll all get answers, but how do you stay consistent? What's the fuel to keep you consistent? That fuel is what the Most High determines if you're going to be accepted. You know what that fuel is also? It's that lamp. It's that lamp oil. We read about in Christ. That lamp oil, that's what the Most High said, listen, I don't have enough oil to get you and me to the kingdom, to this marriage. I only got enough oil, motivation for me. I can't give you my motivation.
You can't carry your spirit.
That motivation's got to come from within. And that's why the fear of the Lord, that motivation, that intent, that reason you get up in the morning is what's used for the Most High to determine if you're acceptable to Him or not. You see how it ties in with the parable of the lamps with Christ? He's looking for that fire, that motivation, that drive. And do you have it in you? And that's what determines if you're acceptable to the Most High or not. Your why. Read on. Verse
20.
In 20, yes.
The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the perfection of the law.
That's not true. Read verse 20 again.
God. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law.
There you go. The wisdom is based on your what?
Performance.
Your execution. Your execution is what He's looking at, your performance.
Of what you know.
Of what you know. But your performance is based on your motivation, your drive.
Because I'm responsible.
So is my drive going to be fear of loss? Fear of being ashamed? Fear of the Most High stinging me? Or is my motivation going to be based off the love? And if I change, the Most High going to bless me? Or is it going to be that third one we're going to talk about later on?
Maybe.
What's that fuel or motivation to get you to perform what the Most High knows you got to perform to get blessed? This is what He's looking at, and this is what we have to look at in order to sit back and determine how much we've grown, where we've come from. Anyway, continue. Verse 20 again.
The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law, and the knowledge of His omnipotency.
The knowledge of His omnipotency. So my fear is based on the acknowledgement that this omnipotent power is looking at me. And if I slip up, this omnipotent power is going to sting on me. It's going to sting me and punish me. And that is a great way to fuel your change. Or it's the knowledge that this omnipotent power is looking at me and will bless me if I hold on and stay strong. Which one is your motivation? Whatever one you hold on to the most is where you're at. But we want to evolve from the thinking that the omnipotent power is going to sting me if I don't change, and let's evolve to the idea that the omnipotent power will bless me if I hold on. That's a superior way of looking at your condition. I'm sorry, I was going to cut you off a little bit. Sure you're good, man.
I was going to say something.
What you said?
Yeah, you broke it down pretty much.
Okay, everything's going to be okay. Right? The nod to the omnipotency, brother. Okay, so we're going to read verse 24.
Verse 24. He that has small understanding and feareth the Most High is better than one that hath much wisdom and transgresseth the law of the Most High.
Why is this so important? He that has small understanding and fears the Most High. So I can have small understanding, but my motivation is pure. My motivation and consciousness of the Most High's omnipotency is greater than the person that knows a lot more and doesn't change and keeps breaking laws.
Lost fear.
Because that person that transgressed the law has no fear. So the fear is more valuable than the information. Your power, the innate power inside of a person to make changes, and the fuel that they make changes by is a greater evaluation of a man or a woman than how much you've known or how long you've been in. Because look at us been here for 20 plus years and you still can't change what's inside of you. And you've been wasting your time. It's better that a person comes in that just came in and has the fuel and power to make significant changes in their life. That has a fear of the Heavenly Father. That's why we can't poo-poo fear. Because if I have little understanding, but I know the Most High is watching me, and if I change, He'll bless me, that's greater than somebody who's been here for 25, 30 years and can't just figure it out. Can't find it in him to make the difficult changes that a man of his knowledge should have. That's what that means. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay. 1 John chapter 4 and 18. First John chapter 4 and 18. Let's get it. Come on.
1 John chapter 4 and verse 18. There is no fear in love.
There is no fear in love, because once I've evolved spiritually and mentally, I don't have to make changes because I'm afraid. I can make changes. Listen, there is no fear in love, because now that's a change of thinking. That's a change of mentality, and that's a change of motivation. And what that means is I don't make significant changes anymore in my spirit because I'm afraid of loss. Now I make significant changes because I know there's a gain in living right. I know there's a gain in making adjustments. That's the change in philosophy. It is a higher level of operating. It's a higher level of mentality that I change, because if I can change, there's a reward from the Most High. Versus I better change because the Most High is going to destroy me. It is a more mature way of having a relation with the Heavenly Father. Does that make sense? Read on.
There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment.
Fear has a torment, but you know what? Torment is needed for somebody who needs fear. So whether a person is operating in fear or love is based on where a person is spiritually at. Christians will take this and say we don't need to have fear at all. Well, you do until you mature into love.
Fear is like the training wheels. Then.
Fear is the training wheels. And you need fear until you evolve into love. That's how it should be taught. And not this watered down Christian approach of what love is and what fear is. Fear is needed. If you can't muster up the spirit to do it for the right reasons, then your ass needs fear. But that guy that don't want to go to practice, guess what? You go to practice, you'll get cut. And now guess what? If you fear getting cut, guess what you'll do? You get up in the morning. Or if you fear sitting on the bench, you know what you're going to do? You'll get your ass up and go to practice. That will motivate you. Or if you don't go to practice, you're gonna run bleachers all damn day the next day. That will motivate you to get your ass up and work until you love the game enough to go to practice because you want to be there and you want to get better. Then fear is no longer a motivation anymore. Now it's love. It's the same way in trying to serve the Most High and understand Him. Okay. Read on.
He that feareth is not made perfect in love.
And this is why we read earlier in Hebrews 6 that we're supposed to be striving for perfection. It is a more perfect approach to serve the Most High when you know that when you change, there's a blessing coming, versus changing because you have to or you're going to get destroyed. So it's once again, like you said, the training wheels, when the Most High dealt with Israel in their nativity, we needed training wheels. We just came out of Egypt. We need to be motivated. We need to be persuaded with that level of fire and fear to get us to get something done. But now, as a nation, we should have grown and matured enough to evolve past that immaturity that we had in the past. Okay? That fear-based servitude. Now we should be evolving into a rewards-based attitude. That's the second phase. Fear-based mindset versus a rewards-based mindset. Okay. Let that verse go. Then go to Proverbs 13 and 13.
Proverbs 13 and verse 13.
And for sisters who have husbands, it's the same mindset. I should serve my husband not because I'm afraid to get corrected, but I should serve him because I know by doing the right thing it will please my husband. The Most High is judging wives just like He's judging us, because we're the Most High's wife too, right? So our motivations are being determined to determine if we are a good wife to the Most High, if we're a good servant to the Most High. Same thing with y'all. Your motivation has to be for the right reasons. Fear is okay. Love is better. Okay? Proverbs 13 and 13.
Proverbs 13 and verse 13. Whoso despiseth the word shall be destroyed, but he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded.
So now we see the lowest level you can be at spiritually is despising correction, just hating to be corrected. That's the worst level you can be. Hating correction, hating instruction.
Hating change.
Hating change. The least when I'm in the game is me having fear of the Most High and fear of the commandment. Somebody had a hand up? No? Okay. Cool. Read on.
Verse 14.
But he that feareth the commandment shall be what?
Destroyed.
No.
He that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded.
Shall be rewarded. So if you fear the commandment long enough, you'll start getting rewarded. So now my relationship becomes reward based. Now it's when it turns into the joy. You evolve from despising the word, then you go into fearing the Most High, and if you fear the Most High long enough, you'll start getting rewarded. So then all of a sudden your motivations are to be rewarded, not to fear. You see how the Most High is evolving us mentality-wise, maturity-wise? Okay. You got a hand up?
Yeah, I'm just understanding what you mean by rewards. You know, just like how Jeremiah mentioned how the fear is the training wheels.
Mm-hmm.
What I understand, what you're saying.
The fear of loss is like the training wheels.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what I understand about the rewards, not talking about like, you know, money and cars and clothes and all this stuff, but the reward is that next level of, you know, the next level that comes after the fear, you know what I'm saying, which is the love and everything.
Well, I'm going to say sometimes the rewards-based relationship is, if I stay on point, I'll get my kids back. That's how a lot of times the bait the Most High uses us to keep us changing. You keep staying on point, the Most High might bring your family back. You stay on point, the Most High might bring you a rib that can help you do the work. Right? These are real things brothers are looking for when they go to work every day. So you know what? Initially, the relationship is pure off fear. Fear of loss. Then it evolves into, if I keep changing, the Most High might bless me. And then the third level is where we're going to go into next week. We're going to do the second and the third. And it goes into the purest of all the motivations.
The greatest one? The
greatest of the motivations. We'll go into that next week. But for now, the motivations are carnal. Because we're still carnal. If I'm changing if I'm only changing because I'm afraid to die,
correct,
it's positive. But that's a very low level of motivation.
And it shouldn't last. It should be that way forever.
Why is that?
Huh?
Well, if that's what makes you change, then why is that so?
Because we should evolve past that. Like I said, that shouldn't be the motivation forever. It's acceptable, but there's more ways and there's greater ways to do the right thing than just out of a fear to die.
For example, if you have children and you only train them that if you don't do something, spank you. What happens when they're 15, 20, and 30 years old?
And they're not afraid of a spanking no more.
They want to do what they want to do when they want to do.
Shouldn't they learn to do the right thing because there's good positive effects to doing the right thing?
You have to. You should hope that they evolve in their reason for doing the right thing, because you have to wait for the police to beat them up.
Yep.
Oh, the police beat me up, so now I'm gonna be on point.
The guy with the bigger gun, the bigger
that
body.
thinking is childlike.
It's immature.
So we're saying it's okay initially to have that fear and the spanking and the whipping and the losses, and we're the child, we're children of the Most High. But there's some point when we have to sit here and make intelligent, conscious, proactive decisions because we believe the Bible.
And because we know there's good if we do the right thing, we'll be rewarded with good.
Yeah.
Versus operating and doing things because we're afraid to fall and lose.
The Most High want to be viewed as just a terrorizer or just a spanker. The Most High, you as a dad, you want to be always as the, oh, I don't want to be around dad.
I'm about to get that belt out.
That's all.
Who wants the belt? Who wants the belt?
Only reason I have my
that's every day. Is the belt
loser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Joe Jackson spirit. Right? Come on, bro.
I like that Homer Simpson. Like the choking Bart and shit out.
Yeah.
Why is he always choking Bart out?
Exactly.
That's the thing, right? It can't be.
That's one dimensional.
That all the time. That's what we're saying. It's nothing wrong with it being a motivant. Sometimes.
Even with a rib, initially it's gonna be faceless. You gonna do this, or it ain't gonna work.
Yep.
This is my lifestyle. This is who I am. I'm an Israelite man. This is my set of circumstances. This is my hours.
Well, then that threat, you gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get your bags ready. Can you always use the getting your bags ready threat? That shit doesn't work all the time. There's no more, right?
So you can't pull that card every day.
I'm just gonna constantly have your to-go bag ready to go out here. Right? You have like 3 to-go bags. You gonna do this? Oh! The bags are right here. That don't work, man. You can't keep pulling that card. Am I right or wrong, huh?
Right.
And then you like this. Oh!
Come on, man. We have to evolve, man.
That's the point. We have to grow past. Man, you better do it. He said Joe Jackson. What was the other dude? Who's Tina Turner's husband? This is that classic meme where they had Lawrence Fishburne and he looking like this with his little bowl cut out. You know he's ready to hit you out. That can't always be the reason, huh? That Joe Jackson. No, that meme was perfect. That I Turner meme. That was Lawrence Fishburne when he played the role out. God, that was classic stuff.
I mean, that's the only relationship we have.
The most I can't be I Turner all the time, huh?
That's a bad relationship.
It can't be that. He wants us. He's like, can you love me for me? Because I actually want to bless you with good things too. Damn.
Yeah, you'll get tired of that.
That relationship doesn't work long term that way. Yeah. So he's trying to nurture us to evolve into a greater approach in a greater relationship with the Most High. Remember, he says that fear is the beginning. What was that verse? It said, I think it was Ecclesiastes 19. It said that the fear
is the beginning of love.
No, but it said it's the first step to being accepted of him.
Oh yeah.
It was the first step to being accepted.
Ecclesiastes 19.
And then that joy is the next step of being accepted of him. Because you know that if you keep doing good, the blessing's right around the corner. Anyway, let's go to Hebrews chapter 3, verse 12 through 19. And this should probably be the last verse of the night. Hebrews 3, verse 12 through 19. How did I go over here?
Got that in my head all day now. Got that in my head all day.
That's great.
I ain't seen that.
It was a long time ago, but it was perfect. Because he had the whole bowl cut out, and he was trying to be cool because you could tell people were around him. Yeah. But he gave that look like, man, when these people leave, I'ma deal with you, bro. It was crazy. Anyway, let me see. I don't even want to go here, man. I don't even want to go here, man. Let me see. Did we do Proverbs 13 and 13 yet?
We just did that one.
That was the last scripture we just did.
Yeah, read it again. Read that verse again. I don't want to go to this Hebrew. It's going to kind of take the whole vibe a different place. Why I pulled that from?
Philippians 2 and 12.
I did not pull Philippians. I'm going to make sure it's not in the other part of my class. Philippians 2 and 12. Let me see. Let me read this 13 and 13 real quick. Yeah, we read that. Let's do Philippians 3 and 12 real quick.
3 and 12?
2 and 12 or 3 and 12?
3 and 12. Well, I tell you what, I'll just let you know what the third stage is. We'll define it and we'll leave it at that. How about that? Should we define it? I'm telling you, 80% people.
Man.
If we define it,
You gotta wait.
if we define it, everybody's gonna want. I don't want to be in the class. He gave up the answer already.
Yeah, wait.
We gotta hold off, man. We gotta hold off.
You gotta give them the to be continued.
Yeah. Listen, listen. It's a good request, but if we tell it, I already gave the second one up.
I'm telling them out now.
Now I got to go into the second one. We didn't even go into any verse on the joy part.
No, we didn't.
We're just on the first one, really.
Part 2 worthy.
Yeah.
This might go 3, bro. I don't know.
We might get to. Hopefully, we can do it.
So you said Philippians what?
2 and 12.
Let me see here, man. I appreciate it, but we got to hold tight, bro. Yeah, this works. We'll cap it off with this. Philippians 2 and 12.
Yeah, Philippians 2 and verse 12.
Let me type it in. Because if you say it, man, that's like saying the end of the book, guy. Nobody wants to read the book no more.
Yeah, that's
true.
Is it true?
That's true.
No, y'all already said it, so if you rewind it, you'll catch it. I'm messing with you. Don't rewind it, people. Forget about it. So read that, Philippians 2 and 12.
God. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now, much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
And this verse kind of encapsulates the whole process. This is how you work on your salvation. This is how you can kind of gauge how far you've grown and how you've grown from A to Z. You can start seeing how you've grown by how much you've evolved from the relationship of having fear to the Most High. Because it's something about obeying how you obeyed. How you obeyed. Were you obeying in fear? Or were you obeying in love? Or were you obeying in doing number 3? Which we'll figure out later on. But listen, how did you obey? How did you grow? How did you develop? And the how much time and how careful we were in the process of learning, the process of analyzing ourselves, you can start seeing how much you've grown if you take enough time to study your motivations. You'll know how much you've really grown as a person over time in each of the different arenas that you have weaknesses in. Read verse 12 from the top.
Philippians 2 and verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now, much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Read verse 13.
For it is the Most High which worketh in you, both to will and to do of his good pleasure.
So now it's about how, in what way you're motivated in doing his good will and pleasure. And have we evolved in doing his good pleasure? Do we do his good pleasure out of fear of loss? Or do we do his good pleasure out of the anticipation of blessings? And with that, we'll shut down class. Are any questions? Israel Tawada for tuning in. We're getting back in the swing of things. So we'll hit this topic up on Monday, and I know Sham Shawan got something hot for y'all, and Dawiyad too. So shalom, brothers. Tawada for tuning in. See y'all on Wednesday. Shalom.